Hello, friends. Welcome to the God of Fiction. How are you all? So, in this video, we will see what if awakened DxD world with the power of rikudo sanin and fell in love with Rihas. But before we start, if you want more amazing stuff like this, then be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video. Also, if possible, share this video with your friends. Now, without wasting any more time, let's begin the story. Screened both Tsunade and Naruto as Fukasaku Jiji told them about the responsibilities of the last of the rikudo sanin line that Naruto had awakened during the final battle with Obito and Madara, while absorbing 8 of the 9-tailed beasts into himself, while keeping Kamara sealed within himself. That's right, Naruto boyo, this was set up a few hundred years ago between the current Maos and rikudo sanin himself, when his blood was to awaken. If the ages were close, that a daughter of the Gremry would marry the last of his line. What we have yet to tell you is that after awakening his bloodline, after the absorption of all that chakra while being a sage, you are immortal. Both Naruto and Tsunade's jaws drop at that statement. Now the Gremry clan are from a different dimension. Their kind are by default immortal as well, a whole world that has several races of immortal beings. Rikudo sanin knew that his line would have issues in this world as immortals and set this up. Naruto boyo, you really have no choice in this with how the treaties were set up between the two dimensions, though I do know quite a bit about your fiancé, said Fukasaku Jiji. Wait, hold up now, Fukasaku Jiji, so let me get this straight. I am now an immortal badass who has a prearranged marriage. You knew about all this, and you're just now dumping it on me? Oh, and let's not forget it's in an entirely new world. The Fukasaku Jiji? Naruto could barely keep his cool. He understood prearranged marriages and such, but he just turned 17, won a war, and now had all this laid on him. Well, sorry, Naruto boyo, but we needed to check up on their situation first before we wanted to tell you about all this. It's been hundreds of years since the treaty was set up. There was no way to know if it could even be enacted. Now I have a picture I will show you in a moment, but let me tell you about her and a little of their world. She is your age, give or take a few months, second oldest of the Gremry children, with the oldest being one of their race's 4 leaders. She currently is in another prearranged contract, but from what we found out, it's not due to anyone wanting it other than the young man she is to wed, as it was set up before their birth, and seems he turned out worse than that Tinya you grew up with, kinda like him crossed with Jiraiya boyo. I love that kid, but he had issues. That made Naruto grimace. Sasuke arrogance with Ero Senin's perverseness was a horrid combination to marry as an immortal. Maybe he should listen better, and who knows, she might not be too bad. Noticing the look on Naruto's face, Fukasaku Jiji continued. It's that bad, but there is still time before it's enacted. We talked to Seer's ex Lucifer, formerly Seer's ex Grimory, who gave us this information, who is her brother. What they propose is you coming to them in the next few days and starting to get to know the young lady, and they will teach you more about their world. With the 2 competing contracts, it really would be up to you and the young women on what to do. If you decide to go through with it, you may have to fight him, but honestly, with that, Fukasaku Jiji just grinned to let him know what he thought. Oh, and here is some pictures of her. Now, after looking at them, if you don't at least want to give this a chance, I will be calling into question if your balls survived the war. With that, he tossed a photo to both Tsunade and Naruto. Hell, even with him being over 2,000 years old, and a toad, he still wished he could be in Naruto's shoes. Tsunade had been quite after the first yell, trying to take in all the information that was being said. Immortal. Her godson was not only the last of the sage's line but immortal. She knew he had to go. After losing Dan and the others, she could not imagine outliving everyone hundreds of times over. Looking down at the picture of the women in question, even she got a little tint of a blush to her cheeks. Long red hair, a bust near her own size, porcelain skin and fit. Hell, she could be one of the most beautiful women she's ever seen. Yes, her godson just scored the jackpot. And he deserved it. Her guilt about not being there the first 12 years of his life was still something that ate her up almost daily. The horror he lived, though, if anyone deserved happiness as was her godson, she would make sure he at least gave this young woman a chance, or she would beat some sense into him until he did. Naruto, on the other hand, did not blush at all. I mean, hell, one could not go through 3 years of Ero Sensei's training and not become almost immune to this kind of thing. 5 times a week at least was spent in brothels gathering information, and Ero-sensei always made sure to train him so he never got caught out by a kunoichi, so learning about the female body on how to please and how to be pleasured was part of his training. And even though he did not have often, he knew his way around females, though this woman was easily one of if not the most beautiful women he had ever seen. Blue-green eyes, bright red hair, a rack that was just amazing. Her skin looking like the moon's reflection on a midsummer's lake. Hell, even he would have to question if his balls survived the war if he did not at least meet these people. He also knew that no matter what he had to go, outliving so many during the war had taken a huge toll on him. Sakura, Hinata, Kiba, Negi, Lee, Kakashi and others all lost in the war. He could not fathom outliving everyone else time and time again. Also, if he was to ever have the family and rebuild his clan like he promised his Tuzan and Kazan, then he would have to go. The thought of outliving his wife and children ripped at his very soul. With a quick glance over to Ba-chan, with her nod he looked back to Fukasaku-jiji. I'll go and meet her at least. Hell, I have a feeling Ba-chan would beat me until I did if I refused. At this, Tsunade chuckled, letting him know he was right. Besides, we don't have to talk about the other reasons such as rebuilding my clan and such. We can all figure out those issues I would have here as an immortal. The least I can do is head on over there and see what's what, right? When do we leave? Honestly, the sooner the better before I come to my senses and stay for Ba-chan's hat, Naruto says in a fake happy voice with tears starting to stream down his cheeks. Ba-chan was like the mother he never had. He knew she felt bad for not being there for him. And no matter how much he told her he did not fault her for his life, she still took it hard. Who knows, he thought, maybe he could have a kid soon, so at least she got to spend some time with him, or her, before she passed. That would make her happy, he felt. Don't give me that yet, brat. I still got quite a few years with this hat, thank you. And damn right I would beat you till you accepted. Least you're starting to think, knucklehead. Naruto, I give you one last mission from the leaf, and that is to live happy, and if you do decide to marry her, let me meet her once. With that, I am taking you off the roster and putting you on an indefinite recon mission in case you ever want to come back for a bit. Now come here and give me one last hug. Tsunade was also crying a bit. She really did love Naruto as a son she never had and knew this was the only way he could be happy, but she hated to see him go. She thought now with the war over he would settle down and start raising a family. She could pass off the hat after he had his firstborn so she could spoil the tyke senseless. But it seems now that could not happen, so as happy as she was for Naruto, she was still at a loss. Well, Naruto boyo, after you pack we will be on our way. We have to first head to Mount Myaboku where they will summon you from. Toad summons will still be effective as well as any other techniques. Quite honestly, you are going to be one of the top 50 most powerful beings to start with over there, but don't get why. If they got together, they would still kick your ass, so remember that. I would seal up any scrolls and techniques you can, even though we can come back, it's quite a burden. Honestly, you should just seal up the Namake's estate so you have a house ready to go. Also, it's already got the libraries and your arsenal in it, so it will make it quick with a few small scrolls and a few larger ones, said Fukasaku-jiji. Alright, sounds like a plan. Guess I will be ready in about 15 minutes. Ba-chan, I really don't feel like explaining this to the rest of them. Could you at least tell Yugo and Anko about this? They at least are owed an explanation. With that, Naruto jumped out the window to go seal his home to get ready for the move before Tsunade could say anything. He felt that after training with both Yugo and Anko that something might have happened between the three of them. They all had before, but at the time it was war, so nothing other than ever came of it. But had he stayed, he could see the three of them being married. But his immortality would change that, and he could not face them himself to let them know. Well, time to get ready to go to his new world. Rias could not believe it. She was utterly blown away by the news her brother brought to her yesterday. A marriage contract that was made almost 700 years ago between the rikudo sanin and House of Gremory had been invoked. From what she understood was the conditions for the contract were never thought to have been able to be cleared, as it would take the last of the rikudo sanin line to awaken his bloodline and claim his inheritance in this world. Legend said that there were two great primordial gods during the Great War era, Trihexa the 666 beast and the Jubi, the 10-tailed demon god who was made up of demonic energy made sentient. While God had sealed Trihexa, he was left utterly exhausted for decades, and rikudo sanin sealed the Jubi. Though God had sealed the 666 beast in its own void dimension, rikudo sanin sealed the Jubi into himself and left to yet another dimension. That act had set him and his descendants up as a top pillar house for all time if they ever came back, but it was more an honorary thing. As news came back after his death due to demonic power poisoning, he split the Jubi into 9 pieces. He knew he would die one day, as only one who was born with the Jubi or at least a fragment could live though the energy increase. Before he left, he and her brother the current Mao Lucifer set up a marriage contract, knowing any child of his line that had the Jubi and lived though it would be immortal, and where he was going his child would be the only one. Her brother took no time pledge a daughter of his clan. That was 700 years ago, and even her brother forgot about it. That was until a small toad came to him. When she first heard him call for her that day, she almost refused. She was pissed as hell he had not broken the contract with Riser yet, even more so when he said he could not. But something in the back of her head told her to go that morning, and she was blown away by what he told her. Flashback. Ritan, I have what may be the answer for our issues. You and I both know Riser is an ass, and if I could break this stupid contract I would, but with how things are right now, with the old Mao faction starting to rise again and everything else, if I were to step in, I could have a revolt amongst the old school hardline houses, which could lead to a rebellion. Hell, even his parents feel bad about this. Now that being said, this here is Fukasaku Gigi bringing news about a long-lost friend whose line has just been reawakened. I had a contract set up with him over 700 years ago, but never knew his line survived. Rias at that time held up her hand. Whose line? Who are we talking about, Onisama? Hopefully she thought it would not be too bad. I mean, whoever he was talking about just had to be better than Riser, right? Oh well, you may have heard of the line, maybe not. With a big grin he said, the line of the rikudo sanin. He almost had to suppress a belly laugh at how his sister's jaw dropped, and she almost face folded while standing still. She knew the legend backwards and forwards. How she used to pretend she was rikudo sanin when she was younger, like most children did when they were young. His legend was still alive to this day thanks to him and Seraphil. Had he not left, he could have swore those two would have gotten hitched. To this day she had not found another. I will let Fukasaku Gigi tell us about him. I have not heard much. Soon as the basics were told to me, I called you right away so he could tell us both at the same time. It was then that Rias looked over and saw what looked to be a 2-foot-tall toad sitting on a chair sipping tea. Arius Hyam, yes, I was just telling Sears X Dano about Naruto Boyle. If you don't mind, I would like to show some, I guess you would call them memories. But it's quicker than just words. This way I can explain easier the situation on why Rikudo Senin's line reactivated. With a nod from the two Gremories, wait, Fukasaku Gigi, can I call my queen in here as well before you start? She would more than likely be the one to help the young man adjust if all goes well. With a quick nod he called his queen into the room. Grafia, I am sure you have been listening to our conversation. I wanted you here for the memories as well. With that, Fukasaku Gigi started showing them the memories of Naruto's life after his training trip with Jiraiya Boyle, the war and Naruto's skill in battle, his fight with Pain, parts of his training to become a sage, some of his clone training when he got over 5,000 clones which Fukasaku Gigi still could not believe, his battles with the Kages and his union with the Kyuubi for the fight with Obito. Then at the end he showed how Naruto had to absorb the 8-tailed beasts, still housing Kyuubi. In all that he showed Naruto's drive to protect his precious people, his drive to never give up, and some of his finer points, as well as a few pranks for good measure, showed him cry over the graves of his fallen loves Hinata and Sakura, and now at the end him standing on the Hokage's monument to show how he looked now. When the memories ended, he looked around. Both Rias and Grafia had tears in their eyes as well as quite a bit of awe, and Cesarzak had a faraway look in his eyes. Cesarzak was the first to speak up. Thank you, Fukasaku Gigi, for sharing that with us. Just seeing that, I feel privileged to see the grandson of my best friend. His grandson has grown to be the same kind of man he was, though honestly quite a bit more powerful. I mean, damn, what the hell do you people put in the water over there? Were those really base humans, meteors from the sky? Firestorms, water walking, pure destruction on a grand scale. I know he said he would have to put his power into the land, something called chakra, but holy hell. That being said, he turned to Rias. Rightin, if he comes, and you both approve of one another, I approve. But understand that you will not be his only. Someone like that will have a few wives to help rebuild his house. The house of Rikudo will have to be reborn and become strong. But after seeing those memories and some of his skills, I have no doubt he will make you happy if that's what you choose. Looking around and seeing Griffia with a light blush on her face as well got him thinking he may have also solved his problem getting Griffia someone in her life as well. Even though he and his wife go out to every function together, claim their marriage and denounce all the rumors all the time, there are still some that think his queen and him are an item. That and her devotion to him for saving her during the war has kept her off the market far too long. Maybe if all goes well, he could trade out for a free queen piece. Who knows? But that is definitely something he should plan for some. It took Rias a few seconds for her mind to reboot and make sense of what her brother just said to her. Dear Lord, he was hot was all she could think at the time. He looked to be around 6 foot, blonde with his hair to the middle of his shoulders and 2 bangs, one on either side. She could tell his body had no fat on it. The muscles were forged in combat, not like someone who worked out, but someone with lean, powerful muscles. And in anything he wore during the memories, he looked amazing in it. To think she could marry him and not Riser was a dream come true. Sharing was not an issue. She knew Riser made his peerage into a whorehouse anyway and had come to terms with it somewhat. Besides, after seeing his, shadow clones, it did not even seem sharing would be an issue. No, after seeing what seemed to amount to years of this man, she would do anything to replace Riser with him, that much was certain. Oni-sama, quite honesty, sharing has never been an issue with us devils, you know that. Of course the house of Rikudo would have to have multiple wives for the first few generations, and if he is anything like those memories portrayed him to be, I would be a fool not to get to know him at least. Is there any word when we would meet? With that she looked over at Fukasaku Jiji. Well, young miss, it will be at least a few days. You see, I have yet to even tell him anything. We did not even know if the house of Gramarye still stood, let alone the situation. 5 days from now should be when we come. We will need you to summon him then. We will bring the marker later to help with the summon. And don't worry, I know Tsunadeheim will force him to come no matter what, so he will be here. Flashback end in less than an hour she was to meet Naruto. She had shown Akino and Kaneko the memories, which of course had Akino asking when her turn with him was. Though Kaneko said she wanted to see if he could teach her Senju, she had told Akino that if they got engaged then a few months after when they had solidified enough, and told Kaneko that if they got engaged she would ask. Akino understood and was quite happy to wait, and Kaneko was also okay with waiting. Knock knock, come in, yelled Rias. Rias-sama, Surzex-sama wanted me to inform you the summoning was ready and everyone was waiting for you to start, said the maid at the door. Okay, thank you, she replied, taking a few deep breaths before teleporting to the summoning chamber. Ritan, so good of you to make it. Okay everyone, places. Ritan and Grafia stand next to me. The rest of y'all guys stand behind me and try to look professional. Looking around, it seems like her brother had his entire peerage here as well as some of the maid's staff. Giving herself one last look over to make sure she was ready, she stood by her brother waiting for the summon to be complete. As she was lost in thought, her body started to feel warm, like a blanket was being wrapped around her, giving her a slightly fuzzy feeling. Looking up, she saw smoke over the circle starting to disperse. In the center was that same 6-foot-tall blonde from the memories she saw, this time wearing the same battle garb he wore during that fight with that bastard Pain. It was a red cloak with black flame trim, a black skin-tight mesh muscle shirt with a pair of black semi-baggy pants and sandals. All in all, it almost made her mind shut down yet again. Dear Lord, I am going to marry, that was all she could think about again. Naruto was a little queasy after the interdimensional summon. As the smoke cleared, he started to take in his surroundings. Even if this was a non-hostile environment, old habits died hard. The first 3 people he saw was a man flanked by 2 females. The man was about as tall as he was with crimson red hair. That must be Surzex, then the person next to him must be his head maid and the other one. Oh my god, is that her? That picture did not do her justice. Jiraiya-sensei, if you're looking down at me, I swear you better stop whatever it is you were writing, or so help me. Looking past them seemed to be some guards and some of the help staff. As he could feel no ill intent, though quite a bit of lust in the air, he relaxed his stance and gave a smile. Ah, Sirs X Lucifer Dano. Hello, I am Uzumaki Naruto. But please just call me Naruto, he said with a small bow. Nay Naruto, if it's like that, please just call me Sirs X. To my left is Griefia Luckfuge and to my right is my sister Rias Gremory. Behind us is the rest of my peerage, which I will introduce later, Sirs X replied. Our Rise-san, hail from the elemental nations. It is my pleasure to be here and look forward to getting to know you over these coming times. He figured he may as well use some of that formal training backend drilled into him. He may be a fool, but he was not stupid. Thank you, Naruto-san, but please call me Rias, and I too am looking forward to getting to know you as well. If he was going to be formal for this, Rias felt she should as well. Thank you, Rias, please call me Naruto as well then. Now that we got all this stuffy formality out of the way, mind if we find a nice place to sit so we can all talk and get to know one another? Fukusakujiji said he showed some of the memories from my world, and I bet there was not even one that showed me in a formal setting, so before I blow it, may as well find a place to chat, nay? Naruto said with a chuckle as he saw the others in the room laugh some as well. He could tell, other than Rias and some of the wait staff, the rest were warriors like him, so they would understand. Right this way, Naruto, we can retire to the lounge. I already have our chefs making you some ramen so we can have a snack while we all talk. With the mention of ramen, Naruto's eyes lit up. If this was how it was going to be, hell, he may never leave. Lead the way, Sirs X, lead the way, Naruto said. After a few bowls of ramen and small talk between Rias, Gracia, Surzage and Naruto, all of them feeling out the others, Surzage started with some of the serious talk. Naruto, you have no idea how good it is to see you. I don't know if Fukusakujiji told you, but your grandfather, Rikudo Sanin, was a very good friend of mine, and I am very glad his line is back. From what I have seen, you and he have a very similar personality. I know Fukusakujiji told you some of the situation over here, but I am going to give a bit more detail, and over the next few days we can give more. I have several tutors ready to help you catch up on knowledge you will need over here that you can use your clones for if what Fukusakujiji said is correct. Getting a quick nod from Naruto, he continued, if it were in my power, none of this would be necessary. But you have to understand, after the Great War, the three factions faced extinction. Our numbers were so low. We came up with a reincarnation system to help our numbers grow, but what we call pure blood devils were still facing extinction, so marriage contracts were the only way we could keep us going. Reincarnation really only makes someone a mixed species, so if a human becomes a devil, they can, though their actions become a high-class devil, but will always be base human, no matter how strong they become. Our traits such as the power of destruction would not pass on from such a union in most cases, and for a devil to become pregnant is quite difficult. Due to our immortality, our birth rate is really low. Add to the mix if I were to break the arrangement between us and the Phoenix clan, which is a very well-respected clan other than their third son, it could cause a revolt amongst the old hardliners, which we can't afford right now with the tentative peace we have with the fallen angels in heaven. We still had 6 months or more and we're still looking at options, but honestly, I don't think there were any to be had till you came along. Now my family and I have agreed it will be both your and Ria's choice on what to do. All we ask is you have an open mind. No matter what, you have a place here, as the house of Rikudo, your grandfather's house, will become active with you here now. You are a high-class devil entitled to your own peerage, but we will get to that over the next few days. The last thing is how our society is. Due to strong bloodlines such as yours being in danger of fading away, most high-class devils have multiple wives. Heads of houses such as you are almost required to do so. That being said, if you were to marry Rias, she would be your main wife as well as someone who would have a say in any future wives. I just wanted the basics on the table before we started talking in depth, CYRZYZYK said. Wow, Naruto thought, that makes so much sense if I change a few words. Okay, honestly I can understand most of that. Let me recap so I know for sure. With a quick nod from CYRZYZYK, due to what in my world is bloodline limits, Some families must marry others to keep the bloodline active for certain. Yours is a special top-tier bloodline, and the contract was made before they were born with an honorable family, but the third son turned out to be an ass. But due to politics there is no easy way out without a lot of death. Due to my ancestor I am nobility, so will be required to rebuild my clan, and the current contract came about due to your friendship with my ancestor. It is mine and Ria's choice if we do this, and if we do she would be my main wife for a clan restoration. And you, turning to Rias, who started blushing slightly under his gaze, filed that for later. Seems like I know where this is going, know all this, and are okay with it. I just need to make sure. Yes, Naruto-kun. Wow, Naruto thought, she is moving quick. I wonder what memories Fukasaku Jiji showed them, and how much of an ass this Riser guy is. I may have to humiliate him when we fight. I think a trout beating should do. That sums it up pretty quickly. Fukasaku Jiji showed us quite a few memories of your world, and quite honestly I would love to get to know you better to see if this will work. And I always knew that anyone I would marry would have a few wives. All I ask in that area is to be treated like a person whose option matters, and honestly, that would be far more than I could ever hope with Riser. Rise said. Ouch, Venom when she said his name speaks volumes about the jerk. Rise, no matter how this goes, that is a promise I can make. When we get a chance I will show you some memories of mine that has ingrained that female fury is really the only thing left in the cosmos that can kill me. Some of the smartest and most powerful people I know or knew were female. Only a fool ignores them, and only a retard upsets them. When he said that he felt that may have been the exact right thing to say, both Surzex and Grafia were nodding their heads in agreement and approval, while Rias just smiled, her first real smile she wore since he met her. Seems she had been guarded. Not that he blamed her. Seems this Riser is more of a than he thought. With a loud clap bringing attestation back to him, Surzex said, well, great, now that's out of the way. Naruto, I have some tutors ready tomorrow so you can learn about the underworld and everything you need to know, as well as bringing you up to date on the human world as well. Rias attends school there, as it is vital in our family's option to know your way around both worlds. Getting a nod from the ninja who knew that knowledge of such things were vital to blend in and thrive in an environment. Ritan has to go back in a week as summer break ends. In that time I would hope you can catch up and maybe agree to go with her and attend classes in the human world. One of the things devils do for survival is contracts with humans, not souls but wealth and favors for services. The best way to become great at this is to understand the human world inside and out and why we feel it's vital to spend time up there for the young. By the way, I understand you still have a fragment of the Jubi still actively sealed in you. Kimura is still with me, the Kyubi. He is asleep right now. We talked after the battle where I absorbed the others, and he will be sleeping for a while longer until he can balance the energy. Right now I am at around 30% of my power. It will be a while till I am at 100%. He said it has to be a slow process so I don't explode from the rush of energy and succumb to chakra poisoning like the rikudo sanin did. To put that in perspective, you saw my fight where he and I merged with Obito. Well, that was me at around 25% of where my final power will be. Seeing their jaws drop at that information, I know, right? Well, anyway, give him a few months to wake up and I will let him out to talk. I can put him in a clone and let him out for a bit now. Oh, and as far as going to the human world, I am all for it. Not only can I get to know my possible future wife, and let's all be honest, I doubt there is another outcome. I may not know much about this Riser guy, or this world yet, or even about you guys, but I do know you have been nothing but honest with me, and I hope that is the final outcome. But any ninja worth his salt would go as information like that saves lives. Rias was so happy she could burst when he said that. Even knowing him for as little time as she did, she already knew he was 100 times better than Riser. His aura alone was warm and comforting, making her feel happy and protected was the only way she could word it. Now all she had to do is be herself, not lie to him, as it seemed he could detect that. Though honestly he was a sage, so feeling intent and lies should be easy for him. Good times seemed to be on the horizon. Break over the next week, Naruto abused the shit out of his clones. Lucky for him, the months of learning Fuinjutsu taught him patience and composure. Otherwise, learning about the 72 pillars and devil customs while getting a crash course of years of human school would have driven him insane. customs while getting a crash course of years of human school would have driven him insane. After learning about a peerage and the evil pieces system, he sent a message to Ba-chan that he may have a way to confer his status, as he called it, to her Anko and Yugo, and to let them know that he would be coming in 3 months to talk to the three about it to see if they wanted to join him over here. After showing Rias more of his memories, such as the training trip, minus the whorehouses, and Anko and Yugo's training, as well as Ba-chan and some of his memories with her, she was in full agreement for him to add them to his peerage when he got his pieces later on. He thought she had a feeling about his relationship with his 2 trainers, but neither of them brought it up, Naruto leaving enough memories for her to guess it decently enough without showing they, and Rise realizing they more than likely would have been his wives had he stayed. Both felt now was not the time to bring that up anyway. Speaking of Rias, now that he spent a week with her, learning about her life, likes and dislikes and such, he could honestly say he was more than happy. She was what was called an otaku, but after watching some of this so-called anime he was quite astounded by it. Liking maybe not as much as her, but still liking it. That seemed to please her to no end as well. He guessed otakus were not well received for whatever reason. She was smart, beyond beautiful, funny, and just all around someone who he could see spending the rest of his life with. Something you learned in the war was when you had something good in your life, you held on to it for dear life. And Rias seemed to be good for him, and he felt to let it slip away would be the height of insanity. So here he was at dinner between him and Surzex on his last night in the castle before they went topside. It was a Friday night. They wanted to have the entire weekend before Monday to set up the house and everything. He had confirmed with him yesterday that they had land bought near the school where he could unseal his mansion. It was funny when he asked Naruto what kind of home he wanted him to buy him. When Naruto said just 10 acres of land, Surzex looked at him funny. That's when Naruto told him he sealed his family's mansion up from his old dimension. After showing him some storage seals, Surzex thought it was amazing and promptly bought the land with the condition that he got to watch it happen, which Naruto quickly agreed to. After Surzex poured himself a drink, he passed it to Naruto, which took it and poured himself a drink himself. When Surzex raised his eyebrow at this, Naruto simply said, "Old enough to kill, old enough to drink was my people's motto. If you can send a 12-year-old to war, you can send him to a bar." Surzex looked a bit green at that, but nodded anyway. He was right. If you were old enough to take a life, you were old enough to drink. So depressing shit aside, Naruto, how was your week and any decisions on if you were going to be calling me Oni-sama in the future? He knew it was going to happen, but wanted to have some kind of confirmation so he could get the rest set up. The week has been enlightening. I will tell you, if it was not for my clones I would be insane at this point with all that shit you had me learn. Seems I am not even done yet either. Could you spare someone to continue my education in the human world? When I was younger I never bothered to learn about politics and such, but seems that would be a death sentence here if I failed to know it backwards and forwards. And I think you have a snowball's chance in hell of me calling you Oni-sama, you bastard, though brother or Oni-san I think is a given. Honestly, after spending a week with her I think I would be the stupidest person on this planet not to say yes. Funny, why? Smart, I mean honestly. Something I learned in the war. He took another swig and refilled the glass. When I lost the girl I loved and the girl that loved me, when you have something good, you hold on for dear life and never let go. I can't say we love each other yet, but I don't see it taking much longer, and that's all I need to say yes. I could not and would not agree to a loveless marriage, especially one that will last forever. But I don't see how I could not fall for her, and I will do everything I can to make sure she feels the same way. How do you want to play this with the fired turkey though? Naruto replied, into his cup and conversation, to realize Rias was listening on the other side of the door in tears of happiness. He was right, they could not say they loved each other yet, but just as he said he could not help but fall for her, she felt the exact same way. Given a few more months she could not see how she could not fall in love with him. She knew Naruto always put on a brave face, but after all he lost it, she would make it her mission to make sure he was happy. Well, honestly I would like to keep you and your heritage on the down low for a while longer, at least till you have as much knowledge as needed to protect yourself politically, at least until you have your evil pieces and such. That would be smart, Naruto thought. No need to show my weakness to enemies. As far as someone to teach you, well, I thought about that too. I plan on sending Grafia with you. Seeing a shocked look on the blonde shinobi's face, he continued, Naruto, I need to be honest with you. Grafia and I are good friends, but with her as my queen over the past years, I feel I have stunted her as a person. She has taken on the role of head maid as well as my queen, been denied suitors due to myths about our relationship that we can't stamp out no matter how hard my wife her and I try. Also, don't take this the wrong way, but I think she has taken a liking to you. She may be a maid now, but back in the war, well, let's just say she earned the title, the strongest queen. She needs a man who is stronger than her to take care of her, but there are 3, maybe 4 other than you around. None on the market are compatible with her. If something does develop between the two of you, I want you to know it has my blessing even though you don't need it, and I plan on trading her to you when you get your pieces no matter what. Even if nothing comes of it between you two, she needs to spread her wings and break out of her shell. Naruto nodded. He could see what he was saying. To be honest, I have been focused on Rise this week, but I have noticed when she teaches my clones, she does blush and her look does linger on me at times. I put it out of my head due to it not being the right time, as I wanted to focus to see if Rias and I were compatible. But after Rias and I solidify our relationship, and if she approached me, I will not turn her away. I want to get to know her better before I promise anything, and Rias will have to agree. I kinda plan on letting Rias choose who becomes one of my wives. I only need to make sure I could love them, and it would work well with whoever we had at the time. Other than that, I figure Rise will have final say on all of them. I don't think I could handle dealing with all of that. Plus, as my first wife, I feel it only fair that she has the right of refusal. I don't know how sister wives work over here, but that's how it was in my homeland, and it worked. When your wife could possibly bury you under mountains or set fire to your junk with a few hand signs, systems were put in place to keep them happy. If they work there, they should work here too. Both Surzex and Naruto were laughing at the thought of their wives having the power to castrate them, and the lengths they would go to keep them happy. As far as keeping me on the down low, that's fine. I can pretend to be some low class for a bit, maybe even stick to Rias like I am in her peerage, but we never claim that. Let others assume it. I will not hide my relationship with her though, but I doubt that would get back to Riza in 3 months anyway, and even if it did, I could whoop that flaming turkey today with no issues. Sears X gave him a quick nod. He would never assume Naruto to hide his feelings for his sister. Naruto, you sir have learned the first lesson to a happy marriage. Never do anything to piss your wife off enough to castrate you. Welp, it's getting late, and you have stuff to do in the morning, by the way. When are you meeting the rest of my sister's peerage? Surzex asked. Sunday, I think, for dinner at my house. When do you think Grafia will join us? Naruto asked back. Sunday lunchtime, I guess. That way she can settle in before the rest show up. How does that sound? Surzex replied. Perfect, so noon on Sunday. I will have everything ready. Oh, and make sure she knows she is not a maid at my home. My seals take care of most of the cleaning and my clones do the rest. She will be there as an advisor and a teacher, not a servant, Naruto said. Ahai will let you tell her. If I say it, she will have some kind of excuse or fight ready. Best spring it on her. Well, I am off to bed. See you tomorrow, Naruto. Oh, and obligatory, you hurt my sister, blah blah blah, I kill you, so on so forth. We understood? Zyke said in a semi-serious tone. YJ, you would have to get in line on that one. Don't worry, I won't do anything to hurt her intentionally, though I am pretty dense at times. With a quick chuckle, Naruto got up to go to bed. Tomorrow was a new day after all. Break Sunday morning. URRRG. I swear I feel like trying to see if I can destroy the sun. Too early to wake up, Naruto mumbled as the sun peeked through his curtains to his room. As he went to roll over to go back to sleep, a weight on his chest stopped him. Looking down, he saw the tuft of red hair that went with the weight. Shocked for a few seconds while his brain rebooted, he realized Rias was in his bed and naked, trying to think back as to why that was and what happened last night. Flashback: early Saturday morning, Rias, Surzex, and Naruto gathered at his plot of land near the school which he was to attend in the next few days. Pulling out a scroll when they made it to the center of the land, he motioned the other two to step back. Stand there. That should be the garden in front of the house. I need to set up the seal matrix really quick. Don't move or you might get hurt. With that, he made 4 clones to go to the 4 corners of the sealed property. After they set up, he unsealed his home. As the smoke cleared, he said, "Welcome to Casa del Uzumaki. Rios, you are going to love this with your hobby." Looking around, both their mouths agape, they saw what was quite possibility one of the most beautiful mansions they ever saw. A 2-story traditional-style Japanese home, but the wood was of a deep red. All around them was a garden with plants and trees they had never seen arranged in such a way as to boggle the mind with beauty. All around them were statues of people they had seen in the memories of Fukusakujiji. A man with a mask over his face, a woman with short-cut hair holding her fists ready for action, another woman with her hands spread out with long flowing hair, an elderly man with long spiky hair sitting atop a toad, another elderly man with a staff at the ready, and several more. Rias almost cried at the sight. This was a graveyard of sorts. The people who he lost during the war he fought, though each statue had a happy look on their face as if to say everything would be all right. A voice behind her startled her from her thoughts. None of them would be happy if I were to brood like Duck Butami. So I remember each of them during the happy times and honor them with a place at my side for all eternity. Each of them taught me something important that I will never forget. Never be sad when you see them. Just know they gave their life protecting what they felt was worth protecting. Come on, let me show you some of the rest of the house. With that, Naruto led the 2 into his home. It was a large home, with at least 20 rooms each with an en-suite bathroom, a library that seemed to be larger than the house itself. When they asked about it, he just said his clan was known for their time-space jutsus and dimension expansion was quite easy with Seal, leaving the 2 devils again flabbergasted. At the end of the tour, Caesar's act said he had to go, already spending more time than he had here. After he went, Rias pulled him aside. "Naruto, don't be mad, but I heard you and my brother talking last night." Rias was a little scared that he might take offense to her eavesdropping on his conversations. What she did not expect was him to start laughing at that. "Mo, don't laugh, Naruto, humph," she said, puffing out her cheeks. Nay, sorry, Rias-chan." "So you heard? Well then, what do you think about what I said? I was going to talk to you tomorrow about it anyway," he asked, looking her directly in her eyes. Rias fought her blush down and answered, "Honestly, it sounds wonderful. You're right, I can't say I love you after a week, but after this past week I can't see it not happening. You know, right now I live in our clubhouse at school. Would you mind if I moved into here? It would let us get to know one another faster?" she asked. "Sure, I don't mind. Pick any room you want. It's getting late, and I need some sleep. Pulling out an entire house is not what one would call easy." "I'll see you in the morning, ne?" Naruto said. "Sure, in the morning. By the way," she got on her toes and gave him a quick kiss on the lips. "Thanks for being you. I feel so much better, and it's all thanks to you." With a blush, she left the room. Damn, not the first time I got a kiss, but for some reason that felt great. Maybe due to it being with someone I will be spending the rest of time with. Who knows? Yawn. Time for bed. Too much shit to do tomorrow. Flashback end. Rias-chan, not that I am complaining or anything, but is there a reason you're in my bed naked? First rule when waking up in bed with a naked hot chick is never assume you did anything wrong or blush. That only gives them power. Arrow Sanin Proverb 3:17. Thank the sage he had me memorize those bloody proverbs, or I might have blown this, thought Naruto. Mo, too early, Naruto-kun, let me sleep. Rias rolled over back onto Naruto's arm, hugging it into her valley. Again, if I ever come across Arrow Sanin in some form, I really need to thank him for all that training. I see this, Rias-chan, but I really would like to know what in the name of the sage is going on. So before I have to summon ice water, mind giving me a heads up? Naruto was really enjoying waking up to this, but he really needed to know that was going on. Well, you did say pick any room in the house, and so I picked this one. What's the matter anyway? We are going to be married one day. Am I not good enough to sleep here? Damn it, Naruto thought, as that puppy looks something that's taught to all women regardless of the world. I swear I need to find the creator of that technique and kill them. Nay, Rias-chan, nothing like that. I just was not expecting it. Look, I don't mind or anything, but I can't have you sleeping naked in my bed, at least till our engagement is official. I may have an iron will, but honestly, I don't think even I could survive this every night if you catch my drift. Now let's get up and get ready for the day. We have Graphia coming at lunch and the rest of your peerage tonight, so we need to get ready. Also, I need to send some clones out to scout the town. With that, Naruto placed a kiss on top of Ria's forehead and got out of bed, not noticing Rias blushing up a storm at his statement about her in his bed. If all he was waiting for was an official announcement, she could wait, not like he told her no. She watched her future husband get out of bed, for the first time seeing him without his cloths on, though he still had his boxers on. After realizing how cut his body was, she realized there were so many scars. Not realizing, she let out a gasp. Naruto suddenly realized she was looking at him for the first time without his cloths, and all his scars were showing. Looking back, almost scared she would not want him with his body so marred, he gazed back at her. I'm sorry, Rias. I know it's not nice to look at, but this is what has come with my past. I can understand if you don't want to go though with this now. He tried to hide his pain in his voice but failed. Rias immediately realized what was going through his head and rushed to him, holding him from behind, hugging him closely. Naruto, I knew from the day I heard about you that you have been fighting since you were young. No, I don't see these scars as bad in any way, but I hope you will tell me about them someday so I can know the stories behind them, she said just above a whisper as she traced a rather large scar over his heart, wondering what could cause something like that and how he lived through it. In fact, most of his scars should mark fatal injuries. She now more than ever wanted to know about his life. Chuckling a little and feeling much better about it, Naruto said, Nay, sure. Someday I will tell you about them, but we really need to get dressed. Not like I am not loving this. But seriously, this can't keep going if I am to maintain control, Naruto said nervously. He may be trained to deal with this, but even he had his limits when a smoking hot woman was hugging him in the buff in his own room. Rias, realizing their position, let out an eep and ran out of the room to a laughing Naruto. Break. Graphia was torn as she came up to her new residence. She knew her king was up to something, and she could guess what it was. What she was torn about was either to be happy at the situation or upset at his meddling. After her king let her know that Naruto accepted the contract with Rias, she was quite happy. Naruto was not only a warrior but a gentleman, strong yet kind, with power on par with her king. Rias could honestly do no better, and she was happy for her. She herself found Naruto alluring. His aura was one that beckoned people to him, hence her current situation. She was now to come and complete his education and help him manage his future peerage and guide him through the first parts of underworld politics so he did not stumble for the first few years. She was told this was a long-term assignment, but she also felt like her king and his father and mother were playing matchmaker. Graphia was somewhat upset by that, but she would not take it out on Naruto, and she felt she may as well go with the flow. Upon arriving at the home, she took in its aesthetics and was quite pleased by them. It was a house fit for a noble if nothing else. The garden was something she looked forward to tending, but it might be a bit big for her to clean herself, so she may have to hire some more staff. As she knocked, the door was answered by Naruto. Graphia-san, welcome. I'll let boss know you're here. Follow me to the lounge. With that, the now identified clone created another clone that dispersed right away. She guessed this was how Naruto was informed. The clone's skill of his was something that intrigued her to no end, and was hoping after the marriage she could get him to part with some of his skills. Also the fact if she ever did join him, she would not want for companionship, which was a huge plus in her books. Too many stories of high-class devils that could not take care of their wives were around, not something Graphia would ever accept, and one of the main reasons she never found a suitor. As she followed the clone, they came to a door that must have been the lounge. Graphia-san. Welcome to the Uzumaki clan's home. Did Surzex give you any information on why you're here? Naruto really hoped the bastard had told her what he asked. He was not looking forward to pushing his demands, only that I was to help complete your education in regards to the underworld and help with the first few years of your house in politics and contracts so as for you not to get stuck in any unfavorable situations. I assume I will also take my roles as the head maid as well during this time, Graphia said. The bastard really did not tell you. Okay, most of that was right, though this is the first I am hearing about years. We can talk about that later. Due to my seals, the house cleans itself for the most part, and my clones do a little is left over. So you will not be a servant in this home but a guest and a sensei to me. To be quite honest, I am looking forward to learning under you, as all my teachers to this point have either been perverts or extreme sadists. Just thinking about Enko's teaching lessons sent shivers down his spine to this day. Please allow yourself the time to relax and enjoy your time with us. It means more than you could ever know that I won't be thrown to the wolves on politics. And let's face it, years with that bastard could not have been easy on your mental health. She could see his reasoning. In the memories they saw, they had seen some of the techniques his teachers had used in the past. His Jiraiya sensei could only be classified as a super pervert, and that Enko and Yugo both were harsh taskmasters though effective teachers. Maybe this could be seen as somewhat of a vacation from her king. The past few years had been trying on her. Thank you, Naruto-sama. I think I will take you up on that offer, Grafia said. Nay, don't ever call me that again please, Naruto, or if we have company that you must add honorifics just add san please, otherwise I won't be able to relax around you, K? By the sage, he hated honorifics. As you wish, Naruto-san, she said in a monotone voice. Well, if that's the best I can get for now, oh well, Naruto thought. Surzek should have let you know as well that Rias and I have decided to go though with the contract, though we are keeping my status on the down low until at least I get my evil pieces. And I have already picked out a pawn, knight, and rook if they accept. Enko is my pawn, Yugo is my knight, and Ba-chan is a rook. You have seen all three of them. What do you think about that? Naruto asked. Grafia had heard about the situation between them, but thinking on his three choices she replied, yes, Surzek-sama did inform me that Rias and you chose to go though with it. He also found out this morning she had moved into this house, though he was not surprised at all. As for those three choices, I don't think you could have made a better choice than those three to start with, though Tsunade Dano could do just as well as a bishop as healer support. But after seeing her strength, she would also do wonderful at rook, so I cannot fault you for your choice. Just remember, even though this is far down the line, in most raiding games you yourself will be severely restricted. Some of your abilities are quite honestly terrifying. I doubt they will let you send out thousands of clones or send off Biju bombs, so make sure when making your peerage you think about that. May I ask why PON for Enko? Naruto nodded. He figured he would be restricted in games, but he really did not care about that, and Ba-chan was a frontline fighter no matter what. Bishop would never suit her. Enko is one of the best stealth fighters I have ever known and is used to deep infiltration missions. As a pawn can promote when they get to enemy territory, I figure she would own in that regard. Yugo being a knight is a given, but Ba-chan being a rook over a bishop is for an easy reason. Ba-chan is a frontline fighter, support at heart. Putting her in the back would never fly with her. Better to put long-range fighters in the bishop spot as Enko, Yugao, Ba-chan and myself all have the ability to heal though our chakra, which seems to be severely lacking in devils. Naruto said. Grafia at that point understood why this peerage would be so powerful. Chakra, the ability to be many things at once, and with 4 healers on a team, including a master healer, was unheard of. They could fill the rest of the spots with massive damage people and still have tons of utility. And the 4 ninja was all 3 types, power, technique and wizard all rolled into one. Quite honestly, this had the potential to be the most powerful team ever, including the Mao teams. Yes, that will be quite a combination. Well, I look forward to your progress there. Where is Ojo-sama? Grafia asked. She went to gather the rest of her peerage so we could meet. I have some clones cooking dinner now, and I will have one give you a tour. Pick out any room on the 2nd floor as your own. Also later on I need to talk to you about what you know about publishing. I was left a book series by my godfather that I wish to see if I can republish here, if nothing else to honor his name, Naruto said. Of course, Naruto-san, we can talk after school tomorrow, or I can talk with one of your clones about it during tomorrow's lesson while you are at school with Ojo-sama. Grafia said in her monotone voice. She is always lacking in expressions. Might be fun to get her to react if she joins Rias and I hee-haw, Naruto thought. Naruto and Grafia were sitting around the dining room table as the clones were serving dinner when a teleportation circle appeared showing Rias along with several other people. The first one he saw was a woman with long black hair tied with an orange ribbon. She was about as tall as Rias with a bust slightly larger than hers. After a quick look at her face, though, he had a sweat drop, me sideways. It's another Anko. This must be her queen Aikino. Hell, even their names are close. I am so screwed. Next to her was another girl, though this one was quite a bit smaller, with white hair and empty eyes and an expressionless face. This must be Kaneko. Ria said something about her sister going insane from nature energy causing quite an issue in her early life. Well, I guess I will have to train her up. Maybe let Fukasaku Gigi do it. That sounds like a plan. Next to them was a young man, blonde hair with blue eyes, standing slightly smaller than Rias and Akano. That must be Yuto, her knight. I heard he was trained by Seer's ex-knight. Maybe should have a spar with him later to see how he stacks up. Poor kid, heard he is dealing with fangirls at school. Maybe I should train him in stealth. No one should suffer fangirls. With that thought, Naruto shivered. With that, he got up to give a quick hug to Reyes. Yo, welcome to my humble abode. I'm Uzumaki Naruto, but please just call me Naruto. You already should know Grafia, and dinner has just been served, Reyes-chan. Naruto introduced himself. Thank you, Naruto-kun. This here is my queen Aikino, my rook Kaneko, and my knight Yuto. My bishop is still at the clubhouse due to some circumstances. You should meet him in a few months. I am also scoping out a pawn at the moment, though I am still observing him, Ria said. Also, this is the famous Naruto-kun. Bucha has been raving about him, Akano said as she got close to him, giving him a close look. Damn, Rias hit the jackpot. Hot, why and polite. She said he had a sense of humor as well, something about making it so the toilet paper in her brother's bathroom turned skin orange. Why, I am so going to get in on this. Turning to Rias, she said. Sabucha, when do I get my turn breaking in our recent edition of Fuff? Naruto's sweat dropped. Yep, it's Anko, alright. Best snip this in the bud now. Rias-chan, you should probably warn her who would be breaking and who, besides Akano. With that, he disappeared in a yellow flash, only to instantly reappear behind her, forcing chakra into his breath as he spoke behind her, letting his breath hit the back of her neck. I doubt you could handle me the way you're thinking. With that, he vanished in a yellow flash back to his seat. Manny loved to abuse that ability. Now he could let use his chakra to put on the markers instead of his throwing daggers. Everyone was wide-eyed at what Naruto just did. Shit, that's the first time they saw me do that. Oh well. Akino's eyes were like saucers. Damn it, my knees just went to jelly. Oh hell, I am so going to be part of this. I have no idea what he just did, but I want it again. Rias-chan, we need to talk later. Fu. Kaneko was just watching and gave a small bow. Hello, she said in a monotone voice. What's with the emotionless females in this world? Is it something in the water? Naruto thought. Yuto just shook his hand. Hello, Naruto-senpai. I am glad you could make it to the new term. Hopefully we can get a chance to spar, maybe? Sure, Yuto. I was going to ask you the same thing. The best way to get to know someone is to trade blows with them. So maybe sometime next week after I get my house and training ground set up, replied Naruto. Sure, sounds great, senpai, said Yuto. Come sit and eat. I made you some ramen as well as some barbecue. I also have some cake for afterward in the chill box. Just ask one of my clones for anything to drink. We have water, tea, beer, and some sake, though I would stay away from the Mount Myaboku label if you have anything to do tomorrow. That stuff is strong. 3 cups, laid out Beowulf, though honestly he was a lightweight. That got everyone's attention, as everyone there knew Beowulf and the fact he was anything but a lightweight, and they all filed that for later. Over the course of the dinner, everyone seemed to enjoy themselves, even Naruto to a large extent. He was starting to feel at ease with these people he was to share his future wife with, as they were her team. It seemed the looks he got from Akino told him the talk later would have to do with him, though he figured he would let that play out how it would. Rias had already brought up the topic that she and her queen were kinda a package deal, so he was somewhat prepared for it, though Rias knew it was still up to him. It seemed Rias also knew about Grafia's budding feelings for him too and accepted it, though if he had to guess, nothing major would happen till he and she were official. He would have to clarify that later as to keep peace in the house. What shocked him was little Kaneko, who seemed to have a massive sweet tooth. After dinner, when dessert was brought out, he could have sworn she purred. The whole table stopped when she did and looked at her. She in turn blushed heavy and tried to hide her face but kept eating the cake. When he asked if she liked the dessert, all she did was nod her head, so he promised he would make sure he made her sweets almost every day and said he would bring some tomorrow to school for her. All she said was thanks, but it had some of the first emotions he had heard or seen from her yet, so he guessed from the reactions of the table that it was super rare for her to show any. He promised himself to make sure he had sweets made for her every day. After dinner, before everyone went home or to bed, Akano said, "So Naruto-kun, where did you learn to cook?" I'll be honest and say I am no slouch in the kitchen, but that was otherworldly, no pun intended. This may be the first time I have ate something better than my own cooking, and I am not sure how to feel about that UF, she said, half covering her mouth as she laughed. Well, Akano-chan, I have lived alone since age 4 and found if I want to eat well, I needed to learn to cook, and well, you see the fruits of a misspent youth right there, which was true. After he was booted from the orphanage, he needed to learn to cook real quick. And after he learned about the shadow clone trick, well, he made sure to spend a few hundred clone hours on each recipe. If he was to eat, he may as well eat well. So many hidden talents of the clan Uzumaki him. Bucha, if you ever get tired of him, send him my way, UFFFFFFFF. When she said that, Rias just puffed out her cheeks and glared at her queen. Well, good night all. You can either go home, or take one of the rooms on the second floor for the night, I don't care. Rias-chan, please sleep in your own room tonight. I need my sleep to get ready for tomorrow. With everyone's jaws on the ground and Rias blushing up a storm, Naruto flashed to his room while laughing and putting up seals, setting up his alarm for tomorrow. Rias-senpai, Bucha, Ojo-sama. Everyone cried out when Naruto flashed away. Wait, it's not what it sounds like. When I moved in last night, it was the first time in the house and I was not used to it. Plus my sleep pillow was still back at the clubhouse, so I just kinda used Naruto as my sleep pillow, said Rias while blushing and looking away, finding the walls suddenly fascinating. The first one to speak up was Graphia. Be that as it may, Ojo-sama, please make sure until it is official you do not cross any permanent boundary, understood? Yes, I am aware of that, Graphia-san. I won't go past those until after it's official. Naruto-kun said the same thing to me this morning, replied Rias. Yufufu looks like Bucha is not pleased by that. Maybe I should step in to help keep Naruto-kun satisfied with his home life until then, Akano said. In the background, everyone heard Kaneko call her a pervert. Like hell you will, Akano. Look, I know what you're thinking and I am guessing at Graphia's thoughts too, but please wait till everything is official. Naruto-kun and I have talked about it, and he has pretty much made it my choice who joins his harem. His only request is that they work well with everyone, and it be someone who he could fall in love with and them fall in love with him. But he needs time to adjust. Both Aikino and Graphia blushed a bit at that, though either denied what she said, which was confirmation enough for Rias. All I ask is you get to know him over the next few months like I am. Also know later on his godmother, and who are most likely his to be wives from his old world, will be joining us in a few months. All three will most likely be powerful enough to be high-class devils when they get reincarnated, though after seeing his memories they should get along fine with us. Hell, one of them, Akano, is a slightly older version of you from what I have seen, so take it easy, and Akano, be careful of your teasing of him. Even though he refuses to show all of his training with his teachers, I am pretty sure he will turn the tables on you every time. I will see you all tomorrow at school. I am going to bed myself. With that, everyone took their leave, leaving Graphia and Rias to go to their separate rooms for the night. Waking up to the alarm clock the next morning, Naruto moaned. He had been having another good dream about redheads and harems. He was still trying to figure out how his life turned out so well. Here he was in a world full of hot women wanting to be with him, not judging him for the demon he held but wanting to get to know him. It was a dream come true for the young Jinchuriki. His old world, he was either hated as a demon or worshipped as a hero, but no one really ever wanted to be with just Naruto, no one other than Bakan, Anko, or Yugo. They knew him before the war and liked him for him. It was one of the reasons he felt he would marry them in the end over the contracts that came in just for him, power or influence. Now he had Rias, who he was falling for more every day. Akino, her queen, was so much like Anko they could be sisters, and he knew he could fall for her too, not to mention she was also smoking hot. Don't forget Graphia. He was still unsure about her, but figured he had time to get to know her. That was the major issue between them, he felt, was lack of time together, and his clones would fix that over the next few weeks while she taught him. As he went to roll out of bed, he felt a somewhat familiar weight on his chest again. Cracking his eyes open, looking down, he saw a familiar tuft of red hair laying on him again. Damn it, she's going to drive me insane if she keeps doing this. Time to teach her a lesson, he chuckled inwardly. If she was going to drive him spare, then it was only fair to return the favor. With that in mind, he channeled some medical chakra to each of his 10 fingers and started rubbing her shoulders. Something he learned in his time with sanin was females with such large busts had very stiff shoulders, and with medical massage techniques, one could turn them to putty in one's hands, so to speak. Rise was having a good dream again about her future husband and her fighting alongside each other in the raiding games, winning time and time again when the dream turned erotic. She started moaning as she realized she was awake but feeling wonderful. Someone was rubbing her shoulders in a way that was divine. Cracking her eyes open, she saw Naruto staring at her as he massaged her shoulders. Good morning, Naruto-kun. OHH, that feels so good, keep it up. She could barely keep her eyes open to the feeling. Morning, sleepyhead, I thought I asked to sleep by myself last night. Someone needs to learn not to drive her future finance up a wall. Besides, two can play this game. Naruto said as he took his left hand and massaged down her spine, eliciting more moans from Rias. Damn, he is way too good at this, she thought, though she did not care at this point. As she was lost in the ministrations of Naruto, she felt something soft on her lips. Her eyes shooting open to see Naruto kissing her deeply, causing her lips to part in another moan. Using the moan as an opportunity, Naruto deepened his kiss, lightly ing the inside of her mouth, brushing her tongue. After a few seconds, he pulled back. Okay, Rias-chan, time to get up and get ready for school. Can't be late on our first day now, can we? He said with a smirk. Arg. Not fair, Naruto-kun, you can do that. No, you started this, now you have to finish it. Rias was beyond horny at that point, more so than ever in her life. How could he be so good, she thought. This was just not fair. It was supposed to be her getting him flustered so he would love her, not the other way around. No, sorry Rias-chan, I told you. I may have an iron will, but I can't have you testing me like this. This is punishment for coming to my bed naked again. Next time at least t-shirt and bottoms. We both know we can't have until it's official, and it can't be official for a few months yet. This is as hard on me as it is you. Maybe harder, no pun intended. It's been years since I went on such a dry rut, but I will suffer though it just as you will, and there is no way I am moving past kissing till we have a date, and that's final. Now come on, we have to take a shower before school. I have some clones making breakfast and lunch for us and the others. With that, Naruto rolled out of bed to grab his school uniform as he went to take a shower, leaving a very frustrated Rias behind. Rias followed him to the shower only to be stopped at the door by some kind of seal. Fine, Naruto baka. Be that way, but so help me you will take me on a date next day off, or I will rip your balls off, you hear me? She yelled at him through the door as he laughed. Fine by me. Just make sure if this is going to be a nightly thing you follow my rules until then. Otherwise get used to feeling frustrated. I know I am frustrated too. Next week's Sundays sound good? Naruto yelled back. You better, or so help me arg. You have to tell me one day how you are so good at that. Dear Lord, that felt amazing. I need to go shower myself, maybe a little longer than normal after that stunt you pulled too. I will get you back for this, I swear. She yelled back through the door, but without any signs of anger. She was insanely happy. Now she had a set date and a time frame where she could move to second or third base with him. She knew as well as he did that was out of the picture until Riser had been dealt with, but up to that point was fair game as far as she was concerned. She was a devil and by definition selfish, and anyone who could make her feel like that in moments made her want him even more. Oh, she could not wait till Ikano tried her game on him, and how he would turn the tables. She was already laughing at it. Arg, damn it, now I have to rub one out before school. Damn Naruto baka, I swear I am going to get him back somehow. After the both of them showered and took care of other needs, they met in the hallway on the way to breakfast talking about random things, mostly where they may want to go on Sunday and such, classes they had together, and other random things. Sitting down to breakfast, they noticed Akano, Kaneko, and Grafia were already there. Raising an eyebrow at the three, Naruto said nothing and sat as well as a clone brought him and Ria some breakfast. So Akano-chan and Kaneko-chan, what brings you two to my humble abode this morning? If I had to guess, this is going to be a daily thing, said Naruto, but he already knew they were there for breakfast. Hell, when he made his clones this morning it was to make enough for them plus Yuto, but seems he did not come over. Kaneko looked up from pouring tons of syrup over her chocolate chip waffles and just said, "Tasty, thank you," and went back to eating with a dusting of red on her cheeks to Naruto's laughter. No worried, Kaneko-chan, you're more than welcome at my table anytime. Hell, I even made some dessert for your lunch. Yufufu, looks like Naruto-kun has tamed our quiet rook already, Bucha. But with cooking like his, I guess it was only a matter of time. Thank you, by the way, Naruto-kun. I may just take you up on the daily aspect. Hell, with meals like this I may as well move in, said Akano while laughing. Well, as long as it's not my room, go ahead and pick one. The more the merrier, I always say. Besides, you can help me keep your king under control, said Naruto with a pointed glare at Rias, who suddenly found a spot on the wall very interesting while blushing. When Aikino started to say something, Rias gave her a glare that said later, and with a smile they both went back to eating. So Naruto-kun, looking forward to your first day in the human world at school? Asked Akino. Actually, I really am. The only school I went to before this was the Shinobi Academy, which quite honestly was not a good experience for me. After a few years of War I, I'm kind of looking forward to a few years of peace before we get really started on the raiding games. I really am quite liking this system you all have here. Peace in general with some combat mixed in is great. Back in my world, death is everywhere. The average age of someone in my profession is mid-20s. The fact you have set up mostly non-lethal combat stress reliefs is amazing. Also looking forward to pulling some pranks. An entire world that does not know about me and my pranks just seems to be too good to pass up. I do house a legendary fox after all, so of course I need to be a little mischievous. Everyone at the table got a slightly apprehensive look. The last prank he pulled had to do with the mouse personal bathroom, toilet paper, and Sears X screaming and running down the halls yelling about how his balls turned orange with pink hair frowning from random places around him. Naruto-kun, please, nothing too much. Remember, the humans of this world don't know anything about the supernatural, and we need to keep it that way. Plus, the student council is made of a high-class devil's peerage as well. Sona is a good friend of mine, and I really don't want her upset at me over you. Please, Ria said with her best puppy dog eyes. Geez, they need to make that a forbidden technique. It's okay, Rias-chan, I will keep my pranks within the human ability, or close enough it won't cross that line. By the way, when do I get to meet this Sona and her peerage? Naruto asked. In a few weeks. As they run the school, they are quite busy for the first few weeks to month after a new school year. We need to get going soon too if we want to be on time. Oni-sama made sure we are in the same classes, so that should help you too, knowing Akano and myself. With a nod from Naruto as they all got out of their chairs to get their bags ready for school. Grafia-san, I will leave 20 clones with you. Also, one of them will talk about the books I have, which are I think 50 of them. Also, we need to get you different cloths. Do you only have maid outfits? Naruto asked. For now, Naruto-san, maybe I will have time next week, but seems I will be quite busy this week setting things up. Grafia said. Okay, well, I will take you shopping next week sometime, it's a date. With that, he turned around and headed to school, knowing he would find out her reaction from the clones later. He knew her type, and they always needed a slight push to come out of their shell. This was something that would have to be over the next few weeks, small pushes here and there. As they neared the school, Rias took Naruto's right hand in hers and hugged his arm. When he looked over at her with a raised eyebrow, she just smiled and gave him a wink. Not seeing anything wrong with it, he just kept walking, standing a little straighter. That's when Aikino took his left hand and did the same. Aikino-chan, mind letting me know what you're doing? Naruto asked as they got closer to the school gates. Yufufu? Well, since you are going to be publicly dating Bucha, I figured I would stoke the rumor mills some. You may not know this, but Bucha and I are the great Oni-samas of the school, and to have the new boy coming in with both on his arm should lead to quite the rumors, don't you think, you FFFF? Besides, maybe not yet, but we both know we are going to get to know each other. Really? Good. She emphasized each word as she pulled his arm into her S. You know what, Akano-chan, be that as it may, Rias and I are still getting to know one another. As long as Rias is fine with it, I don't mind trying, but honestly give us some time, nay? He said as a slight whisper into her neck as they passed the gates, his lips barely caressing her neck, sending a shiver of pleasure down her spine. Damn you, Naruto-kun, don't do that to me if you're not going to finish what you started, said Aikino, puffing out her cheeks to a shocked crowd in the schoolyard. I will see you and Bucha in class. You still need to see the office to get your paperwork, and I am sure Bucha will want to walk you. I'll let the teacher know to expect you too, she said as she retreated to Rias's laughter. Thank you, Naruto-kun. Accepting her means a lot to me, as well as letting us get to know each other first better. Though please keep putting her back in her place like that. She always was too flirty, and it's great to see someone put her on the defensive once in a while, said Rise as she got on her toes to place a chaste kiss on the blonde's lips. Come on, let's go to the office to get you the paperwork. I'll walk past the classroom to show you where it is before I have to head back. Kay, laughing a bit at the expressions of the children around them. Okay, Rise-chan, I think I already know the way, but I could never say no to a walk with you. By the way, you never told me how popular you were at school. Seems like I am breaking a lot of hearts right now. His sweat dropped as he heard 3 male students yelling about the great Oni-samas being deflowered and something about Opie. Seriously, is that normal in this world? He said as he watched a few girls beating the same 3 males with wooden swords. Rias just started laughing. Honestly, no, those 3 are well special, if you get my drift, the perverted trio. The one with somewhat spiky brown hair is actually the one I am thinking of making into my pawn. The fallen angels have started watching him, and as you know, it's not ethical to approach someone who knows nothing about our world to reincarnate them. So unless he blunders and dies or the fallen angels kill him, I am in a holding pattern right now. It seems he has a powerful sacred gear, but we don't know which one at the moment, so Yuto is keeping an eye on him. The only major downside to him right now is his perversion, though we could honestly temper those to some extent. Worst comes to worst, though, familiars, call girls or illusions, but there are ways if we can't temper him. Naruto nodded. It was the same back home, so he did not feel any moral outrage at things like that. Hell, most of his best friends were or are workers after the years he spent with sanin. True, as long as they are willing I would have no issues. Just as long as he does not keep slaves or forces himself on others, I can go along with it. But he touches you or those that are with me, and he will be in for a world of hurt, was all Naruto said. Well, if it comes to that, just let me deal with it as I would be his king. Not saying you can't be part of the punishment, but I have to hand it out, okay? This was one of the things Rias was nervous about. Naruto was not raised like they were, but he needed to know that her peerage was hers to discipline and raise. Not that she would not ask for help or anything, but it had to be her call. Oh, that I can understand. All I ask is if it affects me in some way, you either let me help choose the punishment, or help administer the punishment if possible. The leader of the troops must be seen to have control. I 100% understand that. A peerage, no matter how you treat it, is in the end of the day a combat unit with the king as its leader. I just ask the same when my peerage gets off the ground, deal, said Naruto. Thank you for understanding that, and I promise if it deals with you or you are affected I will try to have you help choose or be part of the punishment, though I have final say in it, and of course same goes for your peerage. Still set on your first 3 members? Rias asked. Yep, you don't mind, do you? Naruto replied. No, and I understand the reasons for all 3 and I am okay with them. Just understand I am the alpha and we are all good. Okay? Rias said. No worries, I will let them know before I reincarnate them. If there is an issue I won't, but honestly knowing them they should be okay with it. You have to realize how much I owe those 3, and I am not sure I could live with myself if I did not offer, you know, said Naruto. I understand. This was sudden for all of us, though I still feel like I am getting the better part of the deal. Besides, they both look fun, said Rias in all honesty. Those 2 knew him far better than she did, but she did not feel threatened at all. And having his godmother here made her feel good as well after he told her the story of how they met, and her guilt since then, also her dream of grandchildren being shattered by these events, and how he would fix it if he could. Knowing the birth rate of devils, she could be dead easily before he was able to get any of them pregnant, and her power was top-notch, so there was every reason to bring her as well. This is the classroom. I have to stop here. The office is 4 more doors down to the right. Just get your papers and come back, okay? With a quick kiss, she went into the classroom. Rias sat down next to Akino, waiting for Naruto to return. After a few moments, the teacher announced they had a new student attending, and a knock came on the door. As Naruto walked in, the whole class started to whisper about the hot new exchange student. Was he a delinquent or what? Where did he come from, and that sort of thing. Hello, I am Naruto Uzumaki, but please call me Naruto. I just moved back to the country after some time in the States due to personal reasons. Please take care of me, he said with a slight bow. Thank you, Mr. Uzumaki. Anyone have questions? Asked the teacher. Yes, Kikuyu? He called on a girl that raised her hand. We all saw you kissing Rias-senpai. What's your relationship with her? She asked while the rest of the class nodded in agreement. The girls looked at him in awe and the few boys with hatred. Well, Rias, do you mind if I tell them the truth? He and Rias expected this question, and they figured best way to answer was a mostly truth. She gave her consent. Rias and I were childhood friends, and our parents set up a marriage contract between us many years ago. Now that we are getting older, I came back from the States to get to know her better, as we have been separated for the past few years. So sorry, girls, I am off the market, Naruto said with a small laugh at the pandemonium this created, the squeals from the women and the shouts of indignation from the men. Where are you living then, since you just came back to town? Asked a random person in the class. At the Uzumaki Estates, about a mile from here, with Rias and our caretaker. Naruto laughed like hell on the inside of the chaos that created. He looked over at Akino-chan to see her smiling brightly. Seems she loves to stoke the rumor mills. Ah, good times, good times. And that's how the week went by. During the day, Naruto spent at school, then going home, while Rias and her peerage went to the Occult Research Club or ORC, which he would join after his first full week at school. He was still getting used to the human world, so he would explore after school before getting home. Graphia kept teaching his clones, though the touches and random brushes as she taught them showed she was started to break out of her shell. After his clone showed her the collective works of his godfather, she said they were ready to publish that second, and there was a huge market for that kind of thing in both the human and devil worlds, so they figured on publishing one a month till all 50 were done under the name Jiraiya Uzumaki, in honor of Naruto's ties to his godfather. Naruto was still deciding if to keep up his works or not, but had a few years before he needed to decide. The first advance came just before the week ended, and was quite large if Naruto understood how money worked in this world. Seems like in a few months he would have all the cash he needed to live well. With a clan to rebuild, he could use all the cash he could get his hands on, though with his clones running contracts in a few months it seems like his worries will be for naught. He sent several clones to set up and research his date day on Sunday so he could take Rise on a good first date, though it looks like that Ai's boy was also having a date that day with a fallen angel. Rise warned him what might happen, but she had her familiar following him just in case the day. When Sunday rolled around, both Rias and Naruto got ready for it. Naruto in a basic black long-sleeve muscle shirt and black pants and dress shoes, though Rias went all out in a pure white sundress that fit her like a glove and black-heeled shoes and sun hat. She looked stunning, and Naruto made sure she knew how beautiful she was every chance he got, and how lucky he was she consented to be his date that day to a blushing Rias. After some shopping and a trip to an amusement park and arcade, the sun was setting as they strolled through a park. Rias, I know I have been saying this all day, but I truly am lucky to have you in my life. I think the easiest choice I have ever made is to stand beside you from now on, Naruto said as he brought her into his embrace, kissing the side of her neck, bringing a moan out of her. Naruto, even if there was no other reason, I would still be here with you, even had Riser not existed. I know we have only known each other for a short time, but I honestly can say I love you. Today has been perfect, and I can't wait for the rest of our lives, Rias said back to him. Naruto stopped for a second when he heard that. In all his life he had never heard anyone say they loved him. Hinata said she cared for him, but that was as close as anyone had ever said. After a second his brain rebooted and he looked at her, taking in every aspect of the sight in front of him, trying to burn the image into his mind for all time. After a few seconds he lowered his lips to hers and kissed her deeply, forcing his tongue into her mouth lightly, in her lips for entry. After a second of surprise she kissed him back, both tongues fighting for dominance over the other. After a few moments they both needed air and pulled back. "Rise, I love you too," is all he said as he kissed her again. At that time the seal on Rise's hand went off. "Not now. Looks like Issei got taken out by the fallen angel. Come with me please and see what's going on. We need to get this done with so we can continue. I swear I am gonna make him work hard for interrupting us like this," Ria said as she scowled. Naruto chuckled. "No problem, Hayam. Let's go check up on him, and we can continue where we left off. I still have some cake waiting for us at home, and I need a bath after today. Care to join me?" Rias went red at that but nodded. "Okay, let's go and get this over with. Come here, Naruto. I will teleport us both at the same time. Akano should meet us there." With that they both teleported to the site. "Eyes, could you do something for me for our first date?" Yuma asked Eyes. Eyes could not believe his luck. Was he about to get his first kiss, his first feel of OPI? "What, could you die for me?" "Wait, what? What was that, Yuma-chan? I don't think I heard you right," asked Ice. "Could you die for me?" And with that Yuma transformed into her fallen angel form. During the transformation Ice could swear he saw when the outfit swapped over and he was in a trance. Before he snapped out of it he took a light spear to his gut. Looking down and not realizing how screwed he was, and still in shock, "Why Yuma-chan, why?" is all he could ask. "Sorry Eyes, but orders are orders. You were cute with the date, it was perfect, though a little boring. If you have to blame someone, blame God for putting a sacred gear into your soul. Goodbye Eyes-kun, better luck next cycle," said Yuma in a soft voice. Killing men was never an issue for her, but killing innocents always left a bad taste in her mouth, but orders were orders. With that she flew off as he lay there dying. It was then Rias, Akano and Naruto showed up. "I swear if this is how his timing is in the future, I may kill him," Rias said, not at all amused at Aizen's timing. Akino just started laughing. Era, did he interrupt the moment Bucha?" asked Akano. "Yeah, he did Akano-chan. Best not push right now. Both Rias-chan and I are kinda in a foul mood and want to get this over with so we can return to what we were doing. Oh, and if you come over tonight, stay on the first floor if you want to live. I think both Rias and I need some time today if you get my drift." Pent-up, angry hormonal teenagers with the power to reshape the tectonic plates of the world are not the kind of people you block. Understood. Naruto gave Akino a hard look that brooked no nonsense. Akino just gave him a look. "Okay, Naruto-kun, but remember the same can be said about me. I don't know how much longer I will be holding off myself," Akino said in a semi-serious tone. "Understood. We can talk about that over the next few days, but only if you make sure Rias and I get our time as well, okay?" replied Naruto. Era. So forward Naruto-kun, deal. We can talk about it later. Now we have this cute little underclassman to take care of. Oh, he still is breathing. Bucha, are you going to reincarnate him? They must be servants too, he thought. Yes, he would be their servant, and live he could live. Yes, I want to live. I will be your servant. I am too young to die. I am even still a virgin, he said. No way in hell he would kick the bucket while he was still a virgin. No way in hell. He seems to need all 8 pawns. He must have a powerful sacred gear. I, Rias Gremory, call upon you dying human to become my pawn from now to the end of days, so mote me. As she said that 8 pawn pieces went into his chest as he passed out. Akano, take him and heal him tonight, but place him in his room. I kind of want to watch him for a bit, and make him think this is a dream to see what the fallen are up to. Akano pouted a bit. Wait, Rise, is it that type of healing I have heard of, naked body-to-body kind? Naruto asked. Yes, it's the only thing we have available. Why? Replied Rias. Oh hell no, Akino can get near that creep. I will heal him, or have my clones do it at my house. You can have Akino or Yuto take him home afterward, but no way in hell is she going to rub her naked body all over this perv, said Naruto. Yufufufu, is Naruto-kun getting jealous maybe? Said Akano. Look, we both know chances are in the next few months you and I will be sharing a bed now and then. No offense, I don't need the image of you with him when that happens. Sorry Rias, I know today is your time and I should be flogged for thinking of any other women today, but I have to say this. Rias sighed but could not fault him. They both made it clear where Akino and Naruto would be in a few months, so she could 100% see where he was coming from. No worries, Naruto, but those thoughts better be gone by the time we get home. Yes, please heal him. Akino, take him home afterward and make him think this all was a dream. Thank you, Rias said. Era, no worries, Bucha, I will take care of it. You two crazy kids go have your fun now, you hear Yufufu, Akino replied. Take him to the second guest room on the first floor. I will have clones waiting to heal him. Don't mess with them, as healing takes a lot out of them, and they can dispel really easy when healing, okay? Said Naruto as both he and Rias teleported to the hallway outside the second floor bathroom. As they both came down from their euphoric highs, they climbed into the bathtub, snuggling up to one another. Rias put her head on his shoulder, as he wrapped his arm around her shoulder. Naruto, one of these days you're going to have to tell me where you learned all that you know, Rias said, laughing a little. She knew Naruto was not a virgin by any means, but there is no way he was that good for him to have had only a passing fling. She knew so little of her future husband that it started to scare her. There was no way she could lose him, not now. As if sensing what Rias was thinking, Naruto could see her issue. Really, he held back so much of his life, especially the first few years of it. He knew he could trust her, and they were now committed to this course of action. Maybe it was time to tell her more about him. Rias-chan, there is a lot to my life I have not told you. Most of it due to being really bad, especially the first 12 years. I will tell you everything over time, not because I don't trust you or anything, but some of my scars are from a very dark time in my life. You deserve to know about it all, but I don't want to share it all at once. It might break you. Do you understand? Think of it this way. In Edo era, Japan, if a child was thought to be a demon, how would he have been treated? I will tell you the specifics about it, but thinking of it like that may give you a basic idea. He could see the gears turning in her head, then a shocked and outraged look on her face as she finally understood what he was saying. It got better as I proved I was not a demon fox, but it took time. As to why I am so good at this, well, short answer is my godfather was a spy master, and on our 3-year training trip he kept up with all of his contacts. In the elemental nations that meant whorehouses and bathhouses and such. Even though I rarely partook in such activities, my godfather made sure I had anti-seduction training in case I ever fought a female ninja who used as a weapon, which while uncommon was used for high-value targets such as what I would become. He also made sure I knew how to use techniques via massages and other ways in infiltration missions. Even though I never had to use them for that, he made sure I knew how to use them. So I guess you could call me a trained ninja, Naruto said. It took a few seconds for Rias to process that information. So let me get this straight. Abuse for the first 12 years of your life, which we will be talking about later. Then your godfather took you training, and part of that training included how to defend yourself from women trying to get in your pants if you did not want them, and how to give mind-blowing orgasms and massages. You do realize once this information gets out along with your clones, I will have to beat tons of females off with a stick, right? Oh, and I want a massage tomorrow. I need to see how well they work. It was all Rias could do to keep her laughter in. Also, with Akano and Grafia around, I think you may want to take them on a date when they are ready. After that, I think clones can do a lot of the work, but really the first date needs to be with the real you. Kaneko is also looking your way, but as you know, she is a rare breed of Neko, and their kind takes longer to mature, so she has to wait a few more years, but know that if she wants to, when she gets there, I am not going to say no. Wow, we just did all that and already talking about others. What's going on, Rias? Ready to get rid of me so soon? I'm hurt, Naruto said in mock pain as he grabbed his chest. Baka, you know why? Aikino already said she's going to talk with you, more than likely at breakfast tomorrow, and Grafia and Kaneko will be there as well. It's better to lay the ground rules down first before confusion sets in. Oh, and when you are with them in the flesh, I want a clone. By the way, how much alike are they to you? Rias asked, scratching his head. Depends. If I give them a mission when activating them, they fulfill the mission to the best of their ability. But I can also overpower a clone, giving it more durability that short of a fatal strike they won't dispel, or use too much of their own chakra for about a day and give them free reign. Basically, the only real difference is they would follow any verbal directives I give and call me boss. Other than that, they would be my exact copy as of when I made them, all knowledge and personality of that instant. So if I was fully awake and everything, they would be me almost 100%, and at the end, I would get all the knowledge as if I was personally that clone. So let's say one of you goes shopping with clone A, one of you uses clone B for personal time, and one of you uses clone C to help with something else. When they dispelled, I would get all the memories as if I was in all 4 places at once, including feelings and such. Clones can have, but they cannot get anyone pregnant, and only if I overpower them, otherwise they might dispel during the act. Does that answer your question? Rias got a slight nosebleed at the thought of several clones with her at once, looking over at Naruto, who had a slightly raised eyebrow. Never mind, just thinking of something was all she said, and he gave her a shrug. Okay, time to get out. You coming to bed with me tonight instead of sneaking in after I fall asleep? I really want to fall asleep holding you tonight. Just make sure t-shirt and bottoms, or I will rally you up and leave you hanging, Naruto said. Yeah, I would like that, though on nights you have others in your bed I'd better get a clone. From now on I will fall asleep with you. Got it, Rice said with a slight threat in her tone. As you command, Benihime, Naruto replied. Crimson Princess, I like that, she said and kissed Naruto again. Thank you again. For what? Naruto asked. Just for being you, loving me and being there for me, was all she said as she got into her t-shirt and underwear. Climbing into bed next to him, he held her in his arms, and she fell asleep. You never have to thank me for that, Benihime, was the last thing she heard before falling asleep in his arms. Waking up the next morning as the alarm clock went off, Naruto really thought about just calling in that day. He was far too comfortable laying in bed with his future fiancée. Looking down at the redhead in question, he could not help but feel a sense of completeness. Even though it was not the first time he was intimate with someone, being so with someone that was not for just one night seemed to be a completely different experience. Both he and Rias had talked about what to do with Aikino and Graphia, and honestly he had no issues as long as Rias did not. Knowing what he did about both of them, he could easily fall for both of them, and it was not like there was a limited time frame with all of them being immortal. Though he did not want to move forward till the riser issue was dealt with, no need to complicate things further. Rias-chan, wake up. Time to get ready for school, Benihime, Naruto said as he started to shake his Crimson Princess. Mo, Naruto Baka yawned. It's too early to wake up. Have Graphias-san call us out. I'm too comfortable, Rias mumbled into his chest as she latched onto his arm. Sorry, no can do, especially since Graphia-san is at our door giving you the evil eye for even saying it. Besides, didn't you resurrect a perverted little Kahai last night? You still have to deal with that mess, Naruto said as he started to get out of bed, looking towards Graphia, who had a small blush on her face seeing him nearly. Besides, Graphia looks like she's about to force the issue anyway. I think I may have forgotten to place a silencing ward on the bathroom last night now that I think about it. Graphia's eyes narrowed and nodded. That would be correct, Naruto-san. I think you and Ojo-sama and I need to have a talk at breakfast so we all know the boundary of our living situation, don't you think? At her tone, Naruto winced a little. Nay, Graphia, you really need to teach me how to put that kind of fear-inducing tone into what is by default a monotone voice. It would do wonders when I need to threaten someone without being overt. Naruto deadpanned back. No worries, by the way. I know about the magic in those damn contracts and would not overstep the bounds, but we can have that talk at breakfast if y'all want, nay. Graphia had the decency to look slightly ashamed at that. She knew Naruto would not overstep the bounds that would alert Riser early, but she still had her responsibility to uphold. Thank you for addressing my concerns, and even though I know you two would not mean to, it is still something that falls under my purview to prevent. A quick conversation is all we need so I can make sure I do my duties, she responded. Naruto gave her a quick look, and then nodded. It was true that both he and Rias were young, so overstepping some bounds without thought could happen, and it was one reason Grafia was sent was to be their caretaker in some sense, so he could not fault her. It looked like she really had no issues with what happened last night but wanted to make sure the ground rules were set. A cover-your-ass type conversation. Sure, no worries, give me a few minutes so I can get Carrot Top out of bed and we will be down. My clones should already be making breakfast, Naruto said as he dodged a pillow from the irate redhead. Note to self, she does not like the name Carrot Top. Not cool, Naruto-kun. Want me to start calling you Goldilocks? Rias said as she puffed her cheeks out in annoyance. Nay, you win, though it should be prohibited for you to pout like that. It's way too cute. Now come on and get your ass out of bed so we can get yelled at and make our way to school. I got plans today, Naruto said as he started getting dressed. Oh, fine. I'll meet you downstairs in a few moments, Rias said as she made her way out his door, making sure to swing her hips a little more than needed. As they both made their way down to the dining room table, they saw Akino and Kaneko were there with Grafia. Oh hey everyone, is this an everyday thing? If so, I can make sure I have breakfast ready for everyone in the mornings. The more the merrier, Naruto said. Good morning Bucha and Naruto-kun, or should I call you the beast now you fuff, Akano quipped. Really Naruto-kun? Have mercy on the rest of us staying with you and invest in some noise-suppressing material for the walls if that's going to be normal. Both Grafia-san and I barely got any sleep last night. Yuck it up Ikano-chan. Just remember who is cooking your food right now, Naruto said as a clone came by and laid some waffles in front of her, grinning like a fool. You never know when my hand might slip while cooking. Akino just looked at him with wide eyes as she paled a bit. Eren, Naruto-kun, you would not do such a horrid thing as ruin your wonderful food for something so petty, now would you? Akino asked, not too sure after several boys from school had to call out midweek last week after they cornered Naruto about his relationship with Rias, something to do with a super laxative. Nay, no need to worry about such things Ikano-chan, it's not like you would incur the wrath of your cook now would you? Naruto started laughing as he saw the conflict raging in her head. Good morning Kaneko. Good morning Naruto-senpai. Please disregard Akano-senpai as she will no longer incur her cook's wrath, she said as she glared at the person who could ruin the sweets she was getting addicted to. Nay Kaneko-chan, don't worry, I won't take my wrath out on the innocent, so even if she does it won't affect your bentos, said Naruto as he rubbed the top of her head, eliciting a small purr from the Neko. Turning to Grafia he said as a clone put a plate in front of her, okay Grafia-san, I know you have to set down some ground rules, so let me state what I see them as and you can take it up from there, okay? Getting a slight nod from Grafia he continued, no is a given till we have a full official understanding, no pregnancy till after the wedding, but anything up to that is fine. I have jutsus that will make it so no one can hear us when and if we do something, it was my fault for not using them last night. So I will take any issues you have for that oversight. We both know that right now we are just waiting on me having more information till I fight Riser, which by the way I have about 6 ways to get around his abilities this second ready to go and more when it happens for real. Also, Akino and anyone else who wishes to join us I ask them to wait until it is official before we have dates. I really want to focus on adapting to this reality, and rise right now, and do not want to get spread too thin. Is there anything else you want to add? Because Rise and I will not sneak around like we are doing something wrong. Grafia thought for a few moments. She knew when Naruto said he had ways of winning that second she could count on that, so that objection was gone. They would not have, which was the only thing that would set off the contract protection, so really they were unofficially engaged. Even the focusing on Rias and adapting were really good points. He had all but said he was open to both her and Akano, but only after everything with Riser was set in stone, which was very mature as well. Nothing she could really object to. Okay, Naruto-san and Ojo-sama. As long as you don't step over that last boundary, I really find no faults in anything you said and feel you're focusing on what you are shows the maturity for me to believe you won't step over in the heat of the moment. But please understand that my pride and reputation are riding on this, as I am currently your caretaker officially, even though I really am letting the both of you take care of yourselves. As hard as it is to admit, Naruto-san, even though you're 17 in reality, which is how most see you, with your clones I could not really even begin to guess your mental age, so it would be rather hypocritical of me to be the caretaker of someone who could be mentally as old as I am. As she said that, she saw all three other girls come to the realization that with clones giving him his training and their memories, they were also adding to his mental age as well. You know what, Naruto-kun, she brings up a good point. I now realize why you always felt more mature than any other 17-year-old I ever knew. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but it now answers several of my questions, said Rise. Nay, I never really thought about it either. Just don't go making fun of me for it, or some laxatives may slip Akino-chan. Naruto said. He could just feel the GG jokes rolling around in Akino's mind. Yofufu, never crossed my mind, Naruto-kun. And no worries, I have waited this long, I have no issues waiting a few more months before we have any serious talks about joining you. It's only fair we get to know each other as friends before we move on, Akino said in a rare moment of seriousness. Thank you, Akino. I really feel strong about this, as I take till death do us apart very seriously. I refuse to have a fling, and the best relationships are built around good friendships. Don't you agree, Graphia-san? Naruto figured he still had a few months to push her to that point, so even though he did not want to rush it, it would take many small pushes before she was ready for anything. Quite. Again, Naruto-san, it shows maturity beyond your years and a very good outlook for a happy life. Now it is getting late and time to go to classes, Graphia said, though internally quite happy with Naruto's outlook on relationships, as they were almost exactly the same as hers. Make sure you leave some clones to study with me today as well. Sure, no problem. Graphia-san, would you mind shopping and getting 4 massage tables from town today and setting them up in the Orc building? I will send a few clones with you to help move them. Also, get some regular cloths, as I don't need any head-made rumors and jokes about me at school. Thanks to these two great Oni-samas, I already have to duck out from pretty much every male in the damn school. If it gets worse, I may have to kill one of them to make a point, he said to her. Graphia nodded while blushing at the connotations of head-made comment, thinking it may not be the worst position in the world when it came to Naruto. Making a few overpowered clones that hedged into random people. Grabbing his lunch, he said, Okay everyone, let's head on out. As they neared school, they met up with Yudo. Passing off his lunch, he told them about what happened to Aiz last night. So as a recap, have your familiars keep track of him and report to me as soon as any fallen angel gets close to him. I hate to use him as bait, but we need to know what their plans are. Things are too volatile to go sticking our noses out too far. We can't afford another war right now, got it? Everyone but Naruto said, Yes, Bucha. Are we clear, Naruto-kun? Rias asked, not hearing him agree. Oh yes, that's fine. I just don't have any familiars to follow him with, Naruto replied, but he was lost in thought. Today would be the last day he could really prank the trio. Over the past week he set off tons of traps at their normal perv spots, much to the delight of the various girl clubs, most of whom named him the defender of their virtue, and most then tried to give him their virtue. Go figure. Yen, for your thoughts? Rias asked while the rest of her peerage looked on. Wow, did not know my thoughts rated so low, Benihime. No, was just thinking of a final prank for the trio. Pretty soon, if when he joins I won't be able to prank all three like I have been. So kind of want to leave it on an epic mark, you know? Everyone around him sweat dropped and shivered a little bit. The things this man could do with a rubber chicken. Maybe find a way to convince them to see the nurse about an STD that can only be contracted via goading. Maybe set up a trap that dresses them in a chicken outfit and have them jump onto the volleyball court. No, I know what I want to do. Everyone just wanted to run at that point. Just don't cause unrepairable trauma to my new pawn, please. Was all Rias could say to that unfounded terror of Trout. Too much. They all looked at him as if he grew an extra head. Trust me, the less you know the better. I want to test a part of what I have planned for Riza, not the worst part, but a small part of it. I'll focus more on the other two if it will make you happy, please. Naruto begged Rias. Fine, worst comes to worst, we can erase his memory of it. Trout? Really? Rias said. Aha, Trout. Something I plan on with Riza is by then end of it, anytime someone even says Trout he will piss his pants. But I am not sure part of the plan is even possible, and would like to know before I use it on Riza. Naruto said as if it were the most normal thing in the world. Know what? I really don't want to know. Knowing feels like going to the back of a good mystery book to see who did it. I think I just want to see for myself what you have waiting for him, Rias said with a smile. She truly loved Naruto, but some of his pranks and revenge stunts really made no sense till you saw the end result. I guess that's what happens when someone who is pretty much omnipotent get bored, they get creative. Oh, how much longer till Kurama wakes up? I have been wanting to meet him since we had that chat, Rise asked. Oh, about another month or so, give or take a week. He was pretty spent after my last battle. But what do you expect? I was solo fighting two people who could rip meteors from space to attack me with. Still can't believe I won that one. Naruto looked off into the distance as he remembered his fight with Obito and Miranda, only to be brought back with AF to the forehead. Ouch, what was that for? Asked Naruto. No thinking about bad stuff when you have two pretty ladies hanging off your arms. Or I will F you again, K? Said Rias. She still saw him get that 1,000-yard stare now and then. After talking with her brother about it, he said a lot of war veterans came home with that look. The only thing that seemed to work is break their thought process and get them onto better thoughts. Deal, no bad thoughts when I have two pretty ladies on my arms. I can deal with that, Naruto said. Later that day, Naruto caught up with the perverted trio, knocking them out and bringing all three into his mindscape, which he repeatedly beat them with a trout for 3 days while looking like Jason from the horror movies with only a few seconds in real time passing. Afterwards, before they woke up, he dressed them in trout suits he got from a costume vendor the day before and sealed up. He knocked on the girls' kendo club room's door, letting them know he caught the trio peeping again and figured he would let them deal with it that time, as it was the 6th time he caught them. He told them even he could not fathom why they could not learn their lesson and guessed it would have to be beat harder into them, just not to kill them. The girls thanked him profusely and took the 3 into the locker room, hanging them up like piñatas. With a wave, Naruto said he would let them get back at it. They all waved him out before trying to break them out of the costumes. Point was, he could manifest and harm someone with a trout in his mindscape, so when it was time for Riser he had plans. Oh, he had plans. After school he walked with Rias and Akino to the Orc building where Kaneko and Yuto were waiting by the door for them. Yo guys, how are y'all this afternoon? Naruto asked. Fine, senpai. Kaneko said. Great, really? Though what did you do to those 3? I had to escort them to the nurse's office after the kendo club beat them silly. But they just kept crying about the crowd. All the damage the kendo club did may as well been for nothing with how terrified of trout they were, Yuto asked. I ripped their minds out of their bodies, placed them in a pseudo-mindscape dimension where I beat them for 3 days with a trout before returning their minds to their bodies for what amounted to 5 seconds of real time. Dressed them up in trout Halloween costumes and handed them over to the kendo club, who strung them up like piñatas before beating them into a catatonic state. Nothing really that bad. Everyone just looked at him in horror. 3 days of getting beat by a trout only to have all that happen afterward, and it's not that bad. Senpai is scary, Kaneko said simply. No, senpai is fair. That was the 6th time I caught them peeping, and I have only had 6 days of classes. Even a gerbil could be trained by then. If that kid is coming here and I can't prank him without the clearance of his king, then I needed to make my mark now before I have to take it too far. Trust me, Kaneko-chan, I have dealt with people like him before, and the best thing to do is get them to have an irrational fear that can be used to control their instincts later. Naruto said. Oh, you're talking about your godfather, right, Naruto-kun? What was his fear? Rias asked. Knowing if anyone had ways of combating perverts, it was Naruto. It really was a wonder he did not turn into one himself. Oh, it was a simple hand sign. Naruto brought his hands together to where only his index fingers and thumbs were showing. It is the one hand sign for one of the most fearsome training techniques known to shinobi kind, 1,000 years of death. Don't ask, as I may needed to train that boy someday. My own sensei used it on me and I had nightmares for months. They all watched him shiver at the thought, and if the name was anything to go by, they really did not want to know. They all made it to the club room. Naruto thought it looked kinda cool, like a 30s horror movie set. Looking around, he saw Graphia set up with 4 massage tables up against the wall. She was also dressed differently, and damn, she looked good. A short-sleeved turtleneck with a low V cut to the bosom in white, and a pair of tight blue jeans and a pair of sandal high heels. Damn it, Sanin, if I find out you bribed Cammy for the women in my life, I will find a way to repay you. That's it. When it's time, I will continue your legacy, Sanin, and keep Aika alive for all time. Ah, Naruto-san. Sorry, but it seems I cannot set all 4 tables up in the club room due to space, Grafia said. She was kind of put out by that. Now they would have to take turns. Not an issue, Rias. Mind if I do something like what I have done to my library to your club room? It will be about 5 times larger. Won't take but a minute? Naruto asked. No, please, by all means. I think I speak for everyone. We would love to see this, Rise replied. Everyone nodded their heads. After seeing some of the things at Naruto's mansion, they wanted to see how he did it themselves. Naruto nodded and made a few clones. They went to work painting the seals on the walls. A few moments later they puffed out of existence, and Naruto channeled some chakra into the seals. The walls distorted, warping slightly, and a bright light exploded, causing everyone to block their eyes and look away. When they looked back, the room was almost as big as the gymnasium itself, just with a lower ceiling. Ah, much better, now we can stretch out up here, Naruto said as he looked back. Again he saw mouths agape at what he did. Come on guys, flashing, chains time space expansion, this is the easy shit, need to get over what I do or we could be in a fight and you might stop at the wrong time. Yudo finally spoke up. Yes, I mean, who would be shocked when someone has instant teleportation at faster than light travel or breaks about 6 laws of physics at the drop of a hat? He said with playful sarcasm. Hey, not my fault I was born this awesome. Don't forget my chains, which are strong enough to hold down a large fragment of a primordial god. But seriously, these are the baby skills. Well, not baby skills, but the non-flashy ones. Trust me when I say you need to get over some of the things I can do. Maybe sometime soon I will have to share some memories with you guys so you don't freeze in shock if I pull out the big guns, Naruto said. That may be a good idea at some point, but not today. Today I really want that massage you promised you. Fu, Akano said. Right. With that, Naruto popped 3 clones into existence and set up the tables. Okay, you 4, shirts off and on the table. Keep your bras on. I will unhook them when I get to that point and put them back on before you sit back up for modesty's sakes. Sorry Yudo, I don't do guys. Yudo chuckled. It's okay senpai, I can live without your magic fingers. Besides, the rumors lately have been getting wild between us. No need to somehow make it worse, right? Naruto shivered. I know, the is wrong with this world, in the world, and they are making rumors that I am in a gay relationship with you. There is something in the water, I tell you, something evil. Everyone laughed at that. The rumors had gotten bad as of late with some of the female students about those two, though it seems the boys were the ones spreading it originally. As he and Yudo were talking, the 4 others got on the tables he set up. Naruto and his clones stepped up, the real Naruto with Grafia with the clones with the rest of them. All of them had a green hue around their hands. As Naruto worked their shoulders and backs, they started moaning, asking for more pressure in some places or less in others. As he worked his way down their backs, he made sure to get permission before moving to their asses, letting them know it was the biggest muscle in the body but would not massage it until he had their permission, which all of them gave. As he worked down to their feet, he took off their shoes, making sure to get their feet really well, the whole time keeping his medical chakra going, healing any minor muscle and tendon issues. By the end of it, he had taken a little more than an hour, and all 4 of them had an orgasm at least once. He had to assure them it was just due to the tension being released and nothing to be embarrassed about. Reclasping their bras and letting them get up at their own pace to put back on their shirts, he went and sat on the couch after making some tea waiting for them, quite proud of his work. As they came back, all 4 had a small blush to their faces. Rias was the first to break the silence. Okay, I knew you would be good, but damn it Naruto, you better take responsibility for us after that. I don't think I will be able to give that up anytime soon. The other 3 nodded in agreement. Nay, we just had this conversation this morning. All 4 of them had the decency to blush, thinking back to his talk about waiting a few months and getting to know all of them better. If that was just a taste of his skills, they all knew it would be worth the effort and wait, as they were thinking that the clones had put up the tables and poof ed out, while the original walked over to Rias, who was sitting on the couch. As he sat near her, she laid her head on his shoulder and sighed contentedly. The sun was down. Her peerage plus her brother's queen were just sipping tea while still getting over the wonderful massage they all had when her alarm went off again. I swear I am starting to regret making him my pawn. He has the worst timing ever, Rias phoned. Shit, did the perv get into trouble already? Naruto asked. Yeah, seems that way. We have to go quick, seems he is combat with a fallen angel again. Come on before it's too late. I guess tomorrow we will explain everything. He seems to be a trouble magnet. You guys stay here. Naruto and I can handle this, she said, giving them a knowing look that let them know she was removing Naruto to let them talk without either of them there as they phased out of the room. Yodo saw the look the girls were giving each other, and did not miss the look Bucha gave them. Well, I guess I will head to Senpai's house and hang out on the first floor in case they have to bring in eyes. Talk to you later, he said as he phased out himself. One of the few things his master taught him outside of combat is never ever involve oneself in gossip in a room full of females. It never ends well. Words to live by if you ask him. As he left, Akana looked at the other two and broke the silence. If his only requirements are I wait a few months to let him settle in, allow him time to solidify with Bucha and accept the 2 wives he would have had in his old world who seemed to have already won Bucha's approval, I know I can wait that long. He is noble, gentle, beyond strong, and looks like a blonde Adonis, leaving out the fact Bucha told me he was trained as a ninja to help offset female assassins even though he never used it on missions and his clones. So I know I will never want for time with him, which is the one and only real worry I would have, and you could not have made a better husband if you tried. And don't look at me like that, Grafia. We all see how you are sizing him up, and the only thing holding Kaneko-chan back is her age, as we all know Bucha would not deny her when she is ready. They say the best things come to those that wait, and I for one don't mind waiting if I get massages and little things like that until it's time. The whole time Kaneko was nodding her head in full agreement, blushing a little when she heard about not being denied, and it only being due to her age and race as why not sooner, which was fine with her. Grafia took a second to think of what she wanted to say. Honestly, Aikino-san, I agree with all of that. I still will take the time and get to know him. There is also the fact I feel like I am being set up by Lucifer-sama here, but that is not something I would take out on Naruto-san as it would not be his fault. I also caught hints that I might be asked to be his queen when it is time, but I have not heard anything one way or the other, just a feeling. I will say I look forward to getting to know him no matter the outcome though, and you're right with those clones we would never have a real want for his time and affection, which is also something to take into consideration. I wonder how they would work. She said that last part more to herself, not thinking of the UAL side of them, but the companionship side. Yufufu? Bucha asked him the same thing a few days ago. The other 2 girls leaned in slightly, as this was something they really wanted to know. Come to find out they're an exact replica of him at that time with only very minor differences, such as if he gives a mental command at creation, they will focus on that command and any other verbal commands. They will call him boss no matter what. But everything else is what he was at the time of creation. So if he was 100% awake and poured enough chakra into them, she says they could last for days and they could have as well, but could not get anyone pregnant. Oh, and he can make thousands of them. A little bit of blood started down all 3 females' noses at the thought of that. Yes, they would never want for companionship. Information there was enough to get the gist of it, and she understood not wanting to put it down in writing and glad he was coming home in a few months to talk to them about it. She had already pulled those 2 to the side and let them know not to freak out about what she was about to tell everyone, and they had a private meeting afterwards with a solution to what she was about to tell everyone. Both looked at her weird as they had yet to be told about what was happening to Naruto, but figured something went pear-shaped on a mission he was on, but if she had a solution they would take everything said as a lie until the after meeting. In front of her was the remaining members of the Rookie 9 and 1010. The war had taken a toll on them. Team 7 was no longer here. Team 8 was just Kiba and Shiro, with Kurenai dying in the last days with Hinata. Team 9 lost both its male members, Niji early on and Lee when he opened all 8 gates when fighting Obito in a stalling tactic, while Naruto made his way saving countless lives with that act, and 1010 had yet to recover. Team 10 was the least hit. All 3 members still alive but changed forever after losing both their sensei and his wife. Only the fact that Asuma and Kurenai's child was still around kept their sanity. Kakashi looked lost but was keeping it together due to practice. As they filed into the room, the last closing the door, Tuscanid put up his most potent security seals. Okay, everyone. What is about to talked about is ASS class secret. Those in this room are the only ones to ever know about it, and the current Hokage, and that's it. No council, no clan heads, no one. Is that understood? Everyone in the room, seeing how serious she was, stood straight and saluted in acknowledgement. Everything I am about to say is true. It will not be the whole story, but will be true no matter how hard it is to believe or understand. But it has to do with Naruto, so I guess that will make it easier. She stopped as everyone, including her, chuckled. Naruto had a reputation of making impossible things normal. A little over 2 weeks ago, the Toad Sages came to us and explained a few issues that cropped up with Naruto becoming the new Jubi along with his bloodline. Come to find out, he was the last heir of the rikudo sanin, and becoming a sage plus the new container of the 10 tails after being it for the 9 tails has left him immortal. She took a second to let that sink in for everyone, giving a knowing look at the two females looking ready to cry as they realized what that meant. Now for the truly unbelievable part of the tale, that got some weird looks, like immortality was not weird. Rikudo Sanin was not from this world, but a parallel dimension. He came from his world after a war that had many people like him, though he was one of the leaders and one of the strongest. They had a truce while two beings like the Jubi were let loose in their war. He contained one while a rival faction leader did the same to the other, sending them to different planes of existence afterwards, with the leaders giving their lives to contain the threats. Peace talks broke out, and a tentative peace has reigned over them since. Long story short, they are all immortal beings we could liken to demigods. Before Rikudo Sanin left, he set up a pact with his brother-in-arms, the current leader of their faction, that if he had an heir who gained immortality, he would be brought back, and if there was a female of the Gremory clan that met age requirements, they would wed. This was a binding contract based on their version of chakra, which is more potent. Naruto has been in that dimension for the past few of our weeks, though time seems to move differently there, so no telling how long it's been for him. He is on permanent recon duty on the books, so he can always come home, but in all intents and reasons you all may never see him again. She watched her shinobi, who were taught never to cry even at the death of a loved one, get misty-eyed for their friend. Shikamaru was the first to regain his composure. Tsunade-sama, may I request a letter sent to him? I wish to let him know there has never been a better friend, and I will miss watching the clouds with him. To know we all will miss him, and let him know we wish him the best. Knowing that knucklehead, he will feel bad when the reality of immortality hits him in a few years. The rest were nodding with him on that. I have a meeting with the Toads in a few months, have it ready by then. Akno and Hugo wait here for a few afterwards, please. The rest took that as a dismissal and left, knowing those three would take it the hardest. Everyone there knew the relationship between those four. Okay. Now that they are gone, I have something to tell you too, which is even more secret than what I told the rest. There may be a way for all three of us to go with him. That got a gasp from both Akno and Hugo. I do not have all the information, as he refused to write it all down, which was the right move. Can you imagine information like that getting out? It seems his line on that side needs to be repopulated, and he will need to have multiple wives there as well. Seeing the two blush was like a healing wave to the aged Hokage, knowing she may still get to see grandchildren. It seems every person of his station is given a few items to last them for all eternity, but with these items they grant the person the same lifespan, and some of the same abilities, and he has one for the three of us. Now he put some ground rules in his message, and we'll talk more about it when we go meet him at Mt. Mayaboku in the next few months. 1 is never to speak of it outside of a secure zone. 2 is we will have to leave to go to that world. 3 is, from my understanding, is that this was made to be like a vassal system, so we would technically become his subordinates, but would have us act like always. And 4th is this Rias Gremory will be his primary wife, though they are going off our system and she has already approved. But he wants to give you two the chance to accept or deny him. I will be passing off the Hokage title in a few weeks and putting both of you on medical leave until after the meeting to make sure you both are ready on a moment's notice. Any questions? Tausni had asked with a smile at the gobsmacked look on both their faces. Akno was the first to get her wits back and just started laughing. So the Gaki becomes immortal, then a noble in 2 different worlds and still cares enough to offer the same to us. Oh, and I get to leave this shitty town at the same time so I don't have to deal the my old pedo master stigma, and all I have to do is allow him to make me immortal as well. Well, hot damn, that's a tough choice. Both of the other women could hear the sarcasm in the last bit. Hell yeah, I don't even need to think about it. Naruto would never steer us wrong or hurt us unknowingly, so whatever this vassal thing entails really does not matter to me anyway. Hugo was just nodding her head in agreement. She felt the same way. Same here, he would never hurt us like that, and honestly, both of us were waiting till we saw him next anyway. Delay claim, shall they say? Not being primary is fine. Both Anko and I have seen what he can do with those clones of his. As she said this, both of them got a small grin and a 1,000-mile stare for a few seconds. So I see no reason to say no and every reason to say yes. I have enough savings to get me though till then anyway. Neither of you need to use your savings. Naruto left both of you enough money to live like queens until he meets you both. Healthy amount he left could let you live your life and never work again. I guess he wanted to make sure you made your choice for the right reasons, the noble git, Tsunade said. That's so like him. Well, put it in our account, and I guess we have to leave a will as I doubt that money will transfer with us. I guess leaving it to the survivors of the Rookie 9 and Kurenai's kid is what I am going to do with it, Akno said with Hugo nodding with her. Okay then, I will call you if I have any more information. Dismissed. XXXXXX break XXXXXX as Rias and Naruto flashed back into the entranceway with Eyes and Toe being dragged to a room for an emergency heal. Rias was still trying to catch her breath from laughing so hard. Hearing them return, Yuto and Grafia came running thinking something bad happened. And Naruto, really, did you have to call him Donut Man while giving him a rainbow afro and pink wings? This was supposedly going to be a serious meeting between the two factions, and I was laughing in him face, though it was funny as hell, Rias said as she caught her breath. Hey, in my defense, he was way too serious, and who calls themselves Dasek or whatever while wearing a fedora hat? That clown needed a rainbow afro and pink wings. Also, his underwear will randomly change to a pink satin thong, but I doubt he will tell anyone. The beauty of Seal Za, Naruto replied. He then saw both Yuto and Grafia looking at him like he had grown a second head. What? I reserve the right when finding some weak, bloodthirsty schmuck to prank him silly. From my understanding he did nothing I could kill him for, but pranking has no laws for or against it, so that is what I am left with. Rias, would you mind calling the rest of the gang here? I have something to discuss with them, and you if you don't mind. I was going to wait longer, but with fallen angels seeking fights I would feel better the sooner it happens. Sure, but you might want to make something for us to snack on while we wait, though I wish you would tell me about these talks ahead of time in the future, Rias replied. Hi, sorry, and I was going to talk to you tomorrow first thing, but tonight pushed it up sooner. It's a safety measure that is available to me and mine and has to do with seals. But after Afro Man tonight I will sleep better the sooner this is taken care of. I may not have known all of you long, but all your safety is important to me, Naruto said, looking down a little. Rias walked up to him after giving a quick telepathic call to Akino and Kaneko and kissed him deeply. Never apologize for keeping us safe. Ever okay? Naruto just nodded back while his brain rebooted. As everyone gathered in the lounge, several cakes and tea were brought to everyone. Hey guys, sorry to disturb your night, but I needed to talk to you as we now have hostiles in the area. We all know there are fallen angels in town, and now they have attacked a devil, though they claim it was a stray. Peeved if Donut Man really believed that I will eat my house slippers. Now you all have seen me flash around, what you don't know is how, right? Getting a nod from the room he continued, I use marker seals. I used to have them on throwing weapons and use them as beacons, but that is no longer needed as I can just use a chakra projection seal that is invisible and will stay as long as I want. What I would like to do now that I have provoked them is to place one on each of you. It will not hurt and will only inform me if a marked enemy gets near you as to your location unless you send a call out for me. I marked Donut Man today with such an enemy mark so I would be able to feel any of you if he got within 100 meters of you and would be there in a second. Rias, knowing about the mark, was kicking herself for not thinking of it sooner. Naruto, they will take the mark. I have seen some of how it was used in your old world, and while not really useful to use in the same peerage due to our ability to do the same, for someone outside a peerage that route would be closed. I am kinda surprised you don't have one on me yet. She looked at him as he turned his head slightly, and realized she must have one already. Ah, I see. I have had one for a while, haven't I? Since before we came back up here, I had no idea what was in store, and we had already decided to give us a go. As of that moment, you had a tag on you. As I said, they can't be seen, but it gave me some peace of mind. Also myself, and I am sure the people who chose to join me from my old world would love to train you and your peerage when it comes time. Our methods may be extreme, but they get results. I know you plan to go into raiding games in a few years, as do I, so it may be beneficial to do so sooner than later, especially with your new pawn. He just screams fresh meat, Naruto said. Sure, that makes sense. Give him a few days though. Tomorrow I will have Yuto bring him to the orc to give him an explanation, and after that I will go over contracts more in depth with you if you would like, Rise said. Ojo-sama, that won't be necessary as much as you would think. I had an advert set into his godfather's books so anyone who would take one of the flyers would be able to see it. I figured it had potential, though they will not activate until he is ready with a few of his peerage in a few months, as the book sales are doing far better than expected. The devil version is being rushed into production as well, though will not ship until the issue with Riser is done to avoid bringing unwanted attestation. I have no doubt those books will bring in a vast amount of wealth by themselves, but as an added contract supplier they may be the most profitable series ever created, Graphia said as everyone looked at her in shock, including Naruto. That's great, Graphia-san, and thank you for making it not activate the adverts for a while. Between my seed money and the money coming from the sales, I am more than comfortable right now without the added stress of contracts. I am still worried about how Ba-chan and the rest are taking this. And even though Riser is a non-issue, I want sleep well until he is taken care of and add those fallen angels in school. It was getting to be a bit much. Well, I don't know about you all, but I am tired and will see you guys in the morning. He leaned over and kissed Reyes quickly on the lips. See you in bed, Reyes, he said as he flashed to his room to get ready for bed. Good night all. As normal, you can take a guest room or go home. Though Aikino, would you mind taking our guest back to his house? Naruto said something about taking one of his clones with you so he can hedge into something and let him know Yuto will pick him up tomorrow afternoon. Now that I think about it, he did not say how he would let him know, better not to ask. I am beginning to love that man, but some of his ideas are quite strange, said Reyes. Okay, Bucha, and you're right. But if my life consisted of war and training to become an assassin, I would also be trying to find fun wherever I could as well. Besides, some of his ideas have made me laugh for days, and don't think we forgot what he did to that fallen angel. I want the memory of that one Yufufufu, Akano said. To say East Say I's Kyoto was having a strange day was like saying water was wet. First thing that happened when his alarm went off was a small red squirrel with an eye patch warned him about blondes, and told him he might want to wear armor around his belly for some reason. The fact the squirrel sounded like some gruff action hero, and was smoking a pipe, just added to the strangeness. I just figured he was still dreaming and must have ate something strange. His buddies still did not believe him about Yuma no matter what he said either. Though he could not remember really how the date ended, he still remembered most of it, and was sure he had been bragging for days before it. Now just before last bell the same squirrel showed up in a green camouflage jacket with a sword strapped to his back, again warning him about blondes but to follow them anyway. Looking around he saw that no one else was seeing what he saw, so again just chalked it up to indigestion. I mean, what other reason could there be to have a squirrel talk to only you? As he was thinking about this, someone tapped him on the shoulder. I see Hayato, come with me. Looking over his shoulder he saw Yuto Kiba. Well damn, maybe that squirrel was right, he thought. Why should I? Asked Eyes. In the background he could hear the girls of the class cry out about being rude to the pretty boy, and how dare he question him, and something about not defiling him. That one stung. I mean, he was well known as a pervert on females. Who in their right mind would put him with this pretty boy? Must be something in the water, something very evil. One word, Yuma? That got his attention. How the hell did Yuto know about her? Was she some prank set up or something? Fine, was all he said as he gathered his gear and followed Yuto. As they neared the old school building, Eyes asked, Why are we going out here? Where are we going and what are you going to do to me? He was starting to get a little freaked out. The warnings he was getting all day by that imaginary swirl were starting to blare. Beware of blondes and belly armor were now flashing in his mind while going to an old abandoned building with said blonde. Ria-senpai wants to talk to you about the one you called Yuma. Don't worry, nothing bad is going to happen to you today, Yuto said. One of the great Onisamas. What could she want with me? Was all that was going through his head as they walked into the building. Past a set of double doors he started looking around. For some reason it looked far bigger in this room that the building should allow, but it was set up as some B-budget horror set, skull candles and all. Looking around he saw Ria-senpai sitting behind a large desk with a Kano-senpai standing next to her, the two great Onisamas. A cute little first year with silver hair on the couch eating a cake and an older woman across from her also with silver hair but a knockout as well. Heaven was all he could think as delusions ran through his head with all of these beautiful women here. Then he saw him, his Bane playing pool off to the side with himself, or someone who looked like him. Damn, that must mean he has a twin. No wonder that man could get the better of them so often, the most dangerous blonde of them all. Oh shit, this must be what the squirrel was warning him about, not Yuto but Naruto. As he came to that conclusion, the squirrel hopped on his shoulder. Yep, finally figured it out as the squirrel said that. Everyone stopped talking and looked over as the squirrel hopped off his shoulder and ran to Rias's area and wiggled into them, popping his head out of the top of them. She looked over at Naruto, who was playing pool, and he gave her a small smile and a nod which had her smiling back at him. Hello Issei Hyoto, welcome to the Orc. Before we continue, I need to give you back some memories we took from you over the past few days. Before Eyes could even say what, she waved her hand. As she did, Eyes clutched his head as memories of Yuma transforming and stabbing him in the gut, getting resurrected and healed, then stabbed the next day and healed again last night. Now it was making sense, him being awake more at night and other odd things. After he recovered he looked around. The hell just happened? Was all he could ask. And there is the reason I was warned about belly armor. Rias tilted her head as she explained that he was a devil after she resurrected him, a brief summary of the three factions, and that he was a devil now. Seeing his eyes start to glaze over after most of the explanation and start to stare at her bust, she started to get a bit miffed. That was until she felt a little stirring around said area and saw the look of sheer terror on Aiza's face. Looking down the squirrel that was what seemed to be a Naruto clone and Henge or Genjutsu suddenly had a trout face. Hey perv, he eyes are up there, he said. Seeing Eyes flinch and refocus on Rias's face really told her that Naruto may just be the best bet to temper this one's true nature. Issei, I know this is all new and may be scary to you, but you really need to focus. I used all of my pawns to resurrect you, and if you cannot handle this I may have to ask for them back. If you die, not only do I lose those pieces for around 100 years, but you will also be permanently dead. No one can resurrect a dead devil. So I need to know now if I have to ask for them back, and if I have to take them back, it will put you in the same state as you were when I found you dead. Rias really did not think she would have to take them back, but needed her pawn to understand how serious the situation was, or she would really lose those pieces for a long time, which would really mess up her plans. Icy was lost. He was just told that he was immortal and a devil, that he was in the middle of a cold war, and if he did not like it he would be asked to give what was keeping him alive back. Okay. On the plus side, I am in a team with a whole lot of hot chicks and I am immortal, so I have time to get with them or anyone else. Cons, I have to deal with Naruto and Yuto, but I took all 8 pawns, so I should be more powerful soon, right, so I can sweep them away. This is a lot to take in, Ria-senpai, but I think I can adapt, I said. Good, that's all I can ask. We will go over more as time goes on, otherwise it won't stick. Devils are kind of like humans in the fact we are all kinds. Some good, some not so good, and the sooner you have a handle on this the safer you are in general. In a week or 2 we will begin teaching and training you, so take the time in between to get your head on straight and ready. You will be coming here after school from now on so we can slowly integrate you into the team and start you on your duties at a good pace. Eyes was nodding with her. At least he would not be thrown into the deep end, he thought, which was always a good thing. By the way, what is your dream, your goal in life? She asked. Issei got a goofy grin with a little bit of drool hanging off the side. I want a harem. One with all beautiful women, he said as he started to giggle a little perversely. Everyone but him seemed to hear Kaneko whisper pervert under her breath. Naruto sighed. Rias, mind if I field this one? Not because you can't or anything, but this is kinda where my expertise comes to play, so to speak. Gaining a quick nod like he knew he would, they had already planned on how to deal with this. Oi, Hyoto over here, he said with a sharp whistle, breaking eyes out of his daydreams. Look, I am going to make it very clear here for you. While what you want is not normal per se for a devil, it's not uncommon either. Hell, in a few years I will more than likely have one myself, but I am already head of a clan. For you to do it will be different though. Before he could say anything else, Eyes was on his knees in front of him. Oh, please tell me how, senpai. I will do anything, just tell me the secrets to this, he begged. Okay, grasshopper, Naruto started as he hedged a long white beard onto his face, stroking it slightly. There are a few rules on how these work, but they are pretty defined, so there is very little guesswork outside the ladies, of course. Rule 1 is all the ladies here now and some others you will meet later on are off limits. To ignore Rule 1 will be death or pain like you have never felt. Rule 2 is that it is high-class devils that normally get more than one mate, so it will take a lot of effort to get there, but it is doable. Rule 3 is it has to be voluntary. If I ever hear of you forcing the issue or doing it underhanded with blackmail or something, I will get permission to end you. Now there are other ways as well for quick fixes, but those will have to wait till you are better trained. But stick with us. Listen and work hard, and I will help you on the way to your dream. Just remember, you are now immortal, but that does not mean someone can't kill you, just you won't die from old age. When you have proven yourself to me and your king, the first will take you on a trip, and let's just say you won't come home a boy anymore, though it will take a while. Can you live with those rules, or do we just need to end you now? That last little bit was said a bit harsher than he intended, but he really did not want Rise to waste time on someone who would not toe the line, so to speak. Icy was in a quandary. The only rule he could have issue was with Rule 1, but it was true he would have time enough to find others. He never would force or anyone a girl, that was just not right. Working hard was not an issue if it ended in him not only being strong but having his dream. Besides, it made sense, you had to protect who you were dating and needed cash to do it right anyway. Plus, Naruto-senpai had all but told him if he works hard, he will get him laid. Naruto-senpai, I can tell you without a doubt, forcing myself on someone would never be an issue, as I would never do that. So that's not an issue. I can get where I would need to be strong to protect me and mine, so I even understand the high-class devil thing, which I assume means strong, and I will get there when I myself am strong enough, and I can even accept rule number 1. But can I ask why there is a rule number 1? Don't get me wrong, I will follow it, I just want to know why is all. Rise spoke up at that point. That is very good to hear, Ise say, as you will find that when Naruto says something he means it. But as for me, I am engaged to Naruto, only waiting for some old document issues from before I was born to get cleared up before it is official. Both our families had this set up over 700 years ago, though we recently found out about it, but could not be happier. So that is why I am off limits. I will let the others say why there as well. Ayase could understand that if she was happy with who she was about to marry, of course, she was off limits, though it did not make him happy about it. Oh well, spoke up next. Honestly, I am interested in someone else, but have to wait a bit. I want to get to know them better before we get together, and no, I can see in your eyes that does not mean you have a chance for the next few months. And I think that is the same for everyone else here, though Kaneko-chan is the same due to who she is also is a bit too young. Though Yuto is available if you wish, she ignored the squawk of outrage from said knight and manic laughter from Naruto over that. But remember, it is his choice if he wants to accept or not. Remember, you can't force yourself on him and take our sweet prince's chastity. It was everything she could do not to break out laughing at the looks of both Yuto running behind Grafia and Ise's look of pure terror. Though the rest of her team seemed not to have the same control, even Grafia and Kaneko were smiling while Rias and Naruto were on the floor laughing themselves into a stupor. As Naruto got his composure back, he said, Issei, if I knew you swum that way, which is fine by the way, as I have always said, to each their own, I would not have offered that trip. The people I know are of the Pharaohs, so we may have to postpone, or I may have to really replan that trip. Naruto lost it again after seeing the soundless scream of rage from Issei as he tried but failed to produce words or sounds, he was so off kilter. Finally regaining control of his voice, Naruto-senpai, I will make one thing clear right now. I love women, big, small, firm, or soft, I love. Yuto-san, you have nothing to fear from me, I swear. Please believe me. Icy was now close to tears, trying to make them understand. Alright. Alright. Everyone, let's not traumatize my new pawn on his first day. Sorry, Issei. But try to realize we are a family here. And as a family, we tease one another, and Akano here is the main one. For now, Issei. And the next day or two get your affairs in order and such, but be aware there are fallen angels in the area, so be home at nights and such. Whereas we can defend ourselves, you are not there yet. Yuto, could you take him home and do the standard cast on those living there? What that will do, Issei, is anything weird that may or may not happen around you will seem normal to them. No need to freak them out or anything, right? With that, Yuto and Issei walked out the orc building. Well, that went well. Honestly, went better than I hoped it would. Benheim, it went so well, due thus giving him the road map to his perverseness. Had we not done the 1-2 punch of how to getting his dream, but me promising him a trip to some bathhouses when he earns it, thus giving him a goal, I think it would have been a lot worse. Also, getting him to realize that the people here are off limits will get him to focus a lot more as well. When Enko and Yuego get here to train him, he will have to have his mind in the game. Otherwise, he will be dead. Though I will make it so they know they can't kill him, he may commit seppuku if he pushes them too hard and they put him through normal genin training. He is far too soft to go, though that, Naruto replied. When are they coming, by the way? I know you are meeting them soon. Also, I was talking to Oni about your first 3 pieces, and he thought that if there were anyone else from your old world that you felt should come, maybe you should ask them to. The skills from your world are so diverse that it would be better than almost anyone you could get here, not to mention you know them already, and would not have to watch your back as much. Besides, I know your pieces will be ready tomorrow anyway, Rai said. Yeah, I was thinking that as well, but only after I talk to Bo-chan and the girls. If they agree, I will ask her. There are a few I would ask, but I would need to pull some strings due to 3 of them being heirs to their clans, and one of them will more than likely take Ba-chan's place when she leaves. I doubt I will get all of them, but if everything works out, I should get a few of them, and that would be for the best, honestly. This weekend, I am going to Mount Mayaboku to talk to Enko and Yugo and pick up Ba-chan at least, and all 3 at most. While I am gone, if anything big happens and you need my help, just flare some energy into the seal and I will flash to you. I know you don't need a bodyguard 24/7, but please be careful. An ambush could negate all your power, and I don't know of anything short of war that would happen if I came back and something bad happened to you. Okay. Rias could feel the sincerity in his voice and remembered he had already lost people due to war and bottles. I promised Naruto if anything over my head comes up I will call you, but we both know I am not a wallflower, so I will only call you if I am needed and not for just any old fight, deal? She replied. Deal, just remember I need a fight now and then myself to stay sharp. Okay, he said as he hugged her tightly. Break as Naruto entered the orc building through a window the next afternoon, he came across Rias yelling at Icy about something to do with churches and such. Now that we have that out of the way, it's time to start you on your first job on your way to becoming a high-class devil, she said, which made Icy perk up a bit after the verbal lashing. He guessed he now understood why not to go to a church, but that did not mean he could not be friendly with one, none did it. He figured as long as they were friends outside the church and never inside one, he could be safe. Flyers! And he was down again. Oh, don't give me that, Issei. These flyers are important. There are only a few ways to get to be a high-class devil. One is in raiding games, but we are a few years from that due to age and skill. The second is in pure combat, but with the peace that is going on for the past few hundred years, that is out too. The third is by amassing wealth through contracts. As you are a new devil with no familiar and no way to get contracts, passing out these flyers which will only interest those that have desires that you can somehow fulfill the magic will you rise high enough to get a familiar to do it for you. Every reincarnated devil has started like this for the past 100 years and only lasts as long as you make it. The faster you hand these out, the faster you get called and the faster you get a familiar to do it for you. Understood? Icy nodded as that made sense. I mean, everyone has to start somewhere. Okay, I get it. But so that means at one point Naruto-senpai also had to hand out flyers. After he asked that question, everyone looked at one another and started laughing. Hey, what's so funny? After a few moments to collect himself, Naruto said, Nah, I never had to pass out flyers by hand. All I had to do to become a high-class devil is be the last of the line of what could be considered a demigod god, kill a whole host of what could be called demigods, absorb a primordial god while fighting people who could call on meteors from the skies in combat, and win. Oh, and I had to go from being mortal to immortal in my home dimension. But no, really, my books contain my flyers to those who could use them, though they are inactive. You may have heard of the book, First of 50, the Ika Ika series? He could see Ise's eyes go wide at that statement. You own the rights to Ika Ika. Oh, master, please tell me your secrets. I must know. Everyone's sweat dropped from that. How the hell he focused on the book over everything else he was just told. Maybe one day, Ise. Maybe one day. Now Hop did. Your king gave you an order, and you should get into the habit of following orders as soon as they are issued. With that, Ise moved so fast one would think he mastered a new type of flying god technique. Wow, that boy has issues. Though on a scale from 1 to 10, his are on the good side of the scale. One can always use that boy's perverseness to help him train harder if y'all know what to do. Anyway, Rias, I got a message from your brother that he wants to see me in Graphia. I figured it's about my pieces also. I plan on spending the night there and going in the morning to empty my aboka. Due to how time flows weird between the dimensions, I should be home Sunday or Monday, though I am not 100% sure when. Graphia also may come with me, so you got the house until I get back. Akino-chan, you may as well pick a room and move in as well, but the 2 rooms to the left side and the room to the right are taken. Kaneko-chan, it's your choice as well, but as I said, the more the merrier, and let Yuto know as well. Really, you 3 should pick a room on the first floor, as the second floor will get wild when the others show up. After everyone gets to know each other, we can play room hot potato. Aikino and Kaneko, I am trusting you if Rias gets into something heavy to call me. You know how she gets. Getting 2 nods and a huff from the 3 of them, he turns to Graphia. Are you ready? Getting a nod as she stood up, smoothing the front of her blouse. Kaneko just said, Thank you, senpai, I will move in as well. He nodded to the young Nico. He knew he would have to be the one to invite the 2 of them to move in when it was time. Either would ask on their own, and with him gone for a bit they would feel like they were doing him a favor keeping Rias company. So he waved as he and Graphia phased out. Seer Sex was pacing in his lounge waiting on his soon-to-be brother-in-law and his current queen, sweating a little. He knew this was coming, but not so soon. He thought Ajuka would take a few more months to make the pieces for Naruto, but he failed to take into account that he was as much a brother to Rikudo as he was back in the war, so of course he put a rush order on it, but also seems to have tweaked them to the max, as it seems it was a full set of mutated pieces. He was really glad Naruto liked him, otherwise he would be screwed with how powerful his soon-to-be brother-in-law would be. Hell, he may as well drop the soon-to-be part of that. No one was really starting to worry him, as he had yet to even talk to Graphia about trading her, and he doubted Naruto would have brought it up as well. And with them only knowing each other 3 weeks, he really hoped that was enough time for her to at least respect him enough for the trade without freezing his balls off. Oh well, still was not in the top 10 stupid moves he had ever done, so it would all work out, right? As he was thinking this, a soft light flowed into the room announcing they were here. Ah, Naruto and Graphia, how are you tonight? He asked. Well enough, Oni-san, kind of looking forward to my pieces, Naruto said with a lopsided grin. Like hell, he was going to be the one to bring up the trade and was not adverse to buttering him up with words to keep it from happening. Good. Let's take a seat and I will hand them over to you. Graphia, would you come with me while I go get them? Surzek said, but could not hide his nerves in his voice, which made Graphia raise an eyebrow. So I was right, he was going to trade me to Naruto-san. Well, I will go along with it, but no need to make it easy on him. It also seems Naruto knew about it, but it really was not his place to inform me, so I guess I will let him slide this time. As you wish, Surzek-sama, she said. As the door closed on the other side of them, Surzek looked over at Graphia and felt he may as well just come clean, like a band-aid, quick and painful. Graphia, you know I have always appreciated the work you do here, and have felt I could do no better in choosing you as my queen. But I feel I have done a disservice to you with all the rumors that go around no matter what we do. Also, the fact you still feel like a servant in this house. I plan on trading your queen piece for Naruto's. He knew this was a possibility but not set in stone at that time, so I don't think he would have said anything about it. I don't want you to feel you have in any way not lived up to the title of strongest queen or been a vital part of my peerage, but we all felt here it may be time for you to spread your wings a bit and see more of the world. I truly hope you understand that as well as all of this. We here would also feel much better if Naruto had your experience in his peerage to help him start his life in our world so he has a solid foundation. He said quickly but clearly. Graphia felt for a while that this was coming but did not realize so much thought had been put into it. It also made her feel better that Naruto did not tell her, not because it was not his place but due to not knowing if it would even happen, which for some reason made her feel better. She could not deny most of his points either. It was not as if they were setting her up as matchmakers as she first thought. Oh no, that was part of it, and she knew it, but there were other sound reasons for it, which also made her feel better. I can't argue with most of those points, and I am not truly upset to be traded. All I ask is you defend my honor when the news breaks, as we both know about half of the trades that happen are due to someone in a peerage failing at some task. To trade me for another blank queen could send a message like that. So all I ask is if that happens for full disclosure, she said. That is not an issue whatsoever, and maybe we can put those rumors to rest finally. Also, I am not trading you for a blank queen, it seems, as all of Naruto's pieces are mutation pieces, so that should help some too. For a high-class devil, and especially a Mao, trading for a blank mutation piece is almost the goal of most traders, so your honor on that front is safe too. Graphia's eyes went a little wide when she heard that her soon-to-be king's entire set were mutation pieces. Those pieces added a lot of power to a reincarnation, and were highly sought after by people who had good choices for who to reincarnate. Between the reasons for the trade and traded for a mutation piece, she would be fine. As she was thinking this, Sears X got the box for Naruto, and they made their way back. As Sears X sat down across from Naruto with Graphia on his left, another good sign that things were going great for his little sister is Graphia recognized Ria's spot to the young man's right side. Naruto, here is your set for your peerage. Graphia-san can explain the process to you later, but what I want to go over is something that is unique to your set. It seems Ajuka Beelzebub, who was also a very good friend of your grandfather's like me. We were all like brothers, and Seraphal was like his sister, though we all thought they would be more at some point. But things got in the way, alas. But anyway, when he made your set, for some reason he did not go into your entire set is full of what we call mutation pieces. Long explanation short, these are rare pieces that show up in about 1 of 7 sets, and only one of them. In fact, Rias got one, a bishop, but it added so much extra power to them that they are sealed in a room until they can control that power. They work from that room, and from what I understand are happy with this situation, but still, with all of your pieces mutation pieces, it means whoever you resurrect will have about 2 times the power they normally would with a regular piece, which is a few times what they would have before being resurrected. I only bring this up to warn you to be careful who you resurrect, as if they turn back on you or your peerage they will be very powerful. Also, I know I brought this up briefly a while back, but I wish to trade for your blank queen piece for Graphia and have her become your queen, he said. Naruto took all this in and was quite happy with it, and he also knew about the trade his brother-in-law wanted and turned to Graphia. What about you, Graphia-san? If you are okay with it, I would be a fool not to do this trade, but I can't help feel a little dirty talking about this like you are some sort of commodity instead of a person. If you are truly okay with it, I would love to do the trade right now, but only if you are okay with it as well. Both devils in the room were taken quite a bit back at that statement. To them they were just trading chess pieces, but to Naruto it was about the person, not the piece. I will be honest, Naruto-san, I felt this was coming weeks ago, and have been watching you so I would know how I felt when traded, as kings do have quite a bit of power over their peerage. If I were to refuse an acceptable order given by you, I would be made a stray devil and hunted down, which is not something I would want. So the integrity of a king is quite important to their peerage, but in our customs, a trade is set by the 2 kings with the piece in question not having any real say in the matter. So your questioning how I personally felt about the trade has just reinforced my view of your person, and I have no issues with the trade. All I ask is I be treated with respect, but other than that I can see no fault in the trade or the reasons behind it, she said in her normal monotone voice, but inside she was quite happy. Here was someone who would treat his peerage like a family, and her personally well. She had thought to ask for a trade for the past few decades, as she was starting to feel stifled herself, but was worried about what could be asked of her if she was traded. Due to her fighting for the losing side in the Civil War, the best she could ever hope for was being a high-class devil, or winning a mouse spot, as she could never gain her own peerage due to the terms of the peace treaty they signed, no matter the push Surzex had made on her behalf. And after she barely lost to Serafal when they fought for the title, they had become quite close, and she could not see her killing her friend even if she could win that fight. Graphia-san, we are about to pick up my godmother and more than likely 2 more who would have been my wives had I stayed in my world. I need you to realize that you will be treated with nothing but respect, or Botchan's fist would rearrange my insides. God like being housed in me or not. Not saying that is the only reason, but you get where I am coming from. My only requirements that I can think of at this time is try to help me keep my rather large foot out of my mouth till I get a handle on devil politics, which I will listen to you every step of the way. Try to get along with the rest of my peerage that I may choose, though I could use help choosing as well, and last but not least realize I will not accept you as a servant, but a valued member of my team, so no more maid outfits, at least not for normal use. She blushed a bit at his innuendo. Everyone in the house knew she was attracted to him, but he would not push till she was ready. It will not at a set time, but sometime between 8 in the morning and 9 in the morning. Setting up time frames is rough due to the time drift. With that they all bid each other a good night, and went their separate ways. Surzex ran a bit after Graphia getting her attestation. Graphia-san, how are they really? I hear good things, but I never have time to check for myself, as me going topside would bring attestation to Naruto. We are not ready for him to have yet? He asked. He really wanted to know the unvarnished truth of how his sister was really coping with everything. He and his father still felt terrible with how this whole Riser thing played out. Honestly, Naruto is everything we thought he would be. Honorable, attentive, and kind. He really is like the stories we have heard about his grandfather. Though some of his pranks are over the top, but still show a creativity that still astounds me. Like just before Ojo-sama reincarnated her pawn, he altered space-time to a degree by throwing them in a pseudo-mindscape dimension just to beat the 3 of them with a trout before dressing them up as said fish, then handing them over to the Kendo Club as what was the word? Oh yes, piñatas. Though in all honesty, they had it coming to a degree. I would warn you never to make him mad enough to go all out on a prank. I am not certain yet if I will join them for his affections, and don't act like you and the others have not been playing matchmaker, but there is a good chance one day I will. But they are truly happy. Both Ojo-sama and her peerage, he bring about a warmth that is quite infectious and will truly make Ria-sama quite happy, she said with conviction. Sears X took all that in, and while suppressing an internal happy dance for his friend, he truly was happy for his sister too. Good. I am glad it worked out then. Is there any chance for him to lose to Riser? I personally think no, but what is your option? He asked. None. He will not only win but make Riser, as he put it, piss his pants at the sight of fish. I have no idea what he is planning, but it seems some of the stories along with his own research into Riser has really set something off in Naruto. At this point it's not if Naruto will win, but how much trauma he will put Riser in. Also, some of the maid staff that I know from the Phoenix House has passed on that Riser may not plan to wait till after Ria-sama is finished with school to push for the marriage, maybe sooner than later. But again, this is just conjecture at this point, but I felt I should bring it up. I already talked to Naruto-san and Ojo-sama about it, and we have a few set plans that can be used in case Riser tries to surprise us. The one we seem to be leaning towards, if it plays out like we think it will to challenge Riser to a rating game, but have him agree to Naruto-san filling the gaps of her peerage due to his arrogance. This would allow Ojo-sama to be part of the breaking of the contract while allowing Naruto to debut, allowing for the best benefits from the encounter, though there could still be a one-on-one challenge or even a Naruto versus Riser and his peerage. Naruto has said he could win that fight, but we are trying to avoid that as it paints too big of a target on his back too soon. If Ria-sama wins with her peerage plus Naruto, He gets the honor of beating the immortal Phoenix without the extra of beating his entire peerage, and Rias-sama gets her first rating game win versus a professional team. This way everyone wins, well, everyone we care about, she said. It really was a good plan, and only relied on Riser's arrogance, which was about as reliable as the sun rising. Wow, that is a good plan. Well, I will leave it to you all. Again, Graphia-san, I am glad you are finding where you are enjoyable. Have a good night, Surzek said as he moved down the hall away from Graphia. Break Tsunade woke up as the sun was rising. As she opened one of her eyes, she shot up, trying to remember why she was not in her bed. Okay, you two, we are going to get summoned in just a few minutes to empty Mayaboku. Make sure you are packed for a few days, as from my understanding we will be spending at least one night there, and I don't have a clue what awaits us after that. I do know Naruto needs to talk to us about some stipulations that go along with this. But I know pretty much I am doing it, but again he made it clear not to decide till we hear him out and made sure we know it is our choice. But we all know how he is. There is some small condition that he is all bent out of shape or thinks we might be, but in the end, it will turn into nothing, just like every other time he has acted like this. That got a small laugh from both Anko and Iwego, and they both figured that was what it was. They knew he was engaged, so more than likely either if they came they would have to accept another woman as the alpha of the group or be okay as being his mistresses. As long as they were treated right, they were fine with that. They knew the score when they made their moves during his training, full well knowing he would have more than one wife no matter what. And with how Anko and Iwego were used to being treated versus how Naruto treated them and the fact they truly loved him, it would be a no-brainer as far as they were concerned. Yeah, we know Tsunade. More than likely he is worried about how we will take the multiple marriage or mistress part, or something like that, and wants to give us a chance to back out. I swear that Gaki is too nice for his own good, Anko said. Yes, Naruto always overthinks things like this. Oh well, Anko, we will just have to beat it into his head again like last time, right? Iwego said with a small smile. Damn right. If Naruto thinks I am going to waste all that effort I put in to make him as good as he is more crazy than Kakashi was when he thought it was a good idea to try to hinge into our side of the hot springs last week. I don't think he can sit right still, Anko said with a laugh. Well, girls, if it is as simple as that, great. My only goal right now is to see my godson and figure a way to get some babies out of him, she said while laughing as well. If that is the issue, you both know what I need from you as soon as everything calms down, right? She said with a little bit of force. Well, hold on, Tsunade, we both love the Gaki, but let's see what's going on first, alright? Though I will say both Iwego and I have talked about it, and we both agree with you as far as that goes. We need to know more before we plan on kids, but they are in the cards, fair enough? Anko said with Iwego nodding her head in agreement. That's right, Tsunade. As soon as it's safe we both planned on that anyway, but we need more information before we can promise anything, okay? Iwego said. After hearing that, Tsunade let out a loud squeal while hugging both Anko and Iwego and jumping up and down, with the other two girls gasping for breath from her super hug. That's fine. Perfect, really. Okay, after we are summoned we set up camp and get some shut-eye. And with that, a few seconds later they disappeared in a puff of smoke, not to return for many years. Flashback. And that's right, we are to meet Naruto soon. Better get the others up and ready. Looking over to the sleeping bags to her sides, it seemed the other two were already up and by the smells around already working on breakfast. Wow, already feels like retirement, she laughed a bit in her head. Patting her vest pocket to make sure Shikamaru's and the rest's letters were in there, she got up to greet the others. Good morning, Tsunade-sama. Breakfast will be ready soon. Anko is down by the lake getting some water for us now as well, Iwego said. Morning, Iwego. How many times do I have to tell you no more honorifics? We all read his letter, and as far as I am concerned you are my soon-to-be daughter-in-law. Fukasakujiji will be here soon to help summon the brat, so let's get this show on the road. I'll start breaking down the camp to help us move faster, Tsunade said as Anko came into hearing range. Sounds great, Tsunade, though you're gonna have to forgive me if I don't follow the Gaki's example of Bakon. Still don't know how he gets away with that. Anko laughed. He only gets away with it as long as his head is harder than my fist. I swear Kakashi and Jiraiya have to have some sort of pervert protection, Naruto. Thank the sage that boy turned out somewhat normal. Between what the village did to him for the first 11 years and between Kakashi and Jiraiya, I could so see him turning into a psycho super pervert, and with his perfect henge could easily trump the both of them hands down. Both Anko and Yuego nodded, both thankful as well that never came to pass. Yeah, Naruto had a healthy libido but never crossed that line. Wow, Ba-chan, so nice of you to think of me that way. You almost sounded like you respected me for a second there. Came a sound the trio had not heard in many months. Looking over, they saw Naruto standing there in a long-sleeved muscle shirt, and what looked to be some strange fabric they later found out called blue jeans, and some sort of black footwear. Next to him was standing what could only be seen as one of the most beautiful women any of them had seen. Long gray hair done in a tight ponytail, a purple turtleneck short-sleeved shirt, and the same kind of pants Naruto wore but much tighter, and some form of boot with a spike on the back that looked like it was as painful to walk in as it would be on an enemy. Without a second though, Tsunade bolted over to him and gave him a hug. "Hey brat, long time no see," she said as Anko and Yuego came over and gave him a large hug and kiss on the cheek from the both of them, letting him know they were happy to see him. "How have things been?" she asked. "They have been great, Bakon." "Hey Anko and Yuego. First, I want to say sorry I have been so out of touch, but interdimensional travel even for a letter is quite taxing on the toads, so can only be used in an emergency. Also Anko and Yuego, you both know how I felt about the both of you, and I feel this is somewhat unfair to you as well. Had everything gone as planned, I would have asked both of you a few days after I received word from Fukasakujiji. But with the situation as it was, there really was nothing I could do at the time. The thought of watching the two of you grow old and die, along with our children and our child Ren's children, was just too much for me to handle." His voice became thick with emotion. "But there is a way for all of us to be together again. Oh, sorry, I forgot my manners. This is Graphia-san, she is queen. As to what a queen is, I will explain the situation and afterwards she can answer any questions I can. Deal?" Naruto said. Anko was the first to speak up. "Naruto, you know what my answer would have been. You and me know what it's like to be lonely, and I can see that being a nightmare and don't blame you. Though you ever think of bailing on us again, I will hunt you down, and it will be painful." Anko is right. "Give us the information you want, but you know we are going to follow you no matter what. Anko and I have never been happier than when we were with you, so we are going with you in the end no matter what you think. And if you think you can escape Tsunade before she spoils some grandchildren, we may need to have your head examined." Yuego said with Tsunade was nodding to that. "Damn right, brat. So tell us what we need to know and let's get on with this," Tsunade said. Graphia was watching all this from the sidelines. No, Naruto needed this connection to his old world. It was often hard to remember that he had been a trained child soldier, hated or ignored by most of his village due to how he was born, fought a war that was beyond words to describe, and then thrown from their world as he was finding love for the first time. Yes, Rias and her peerage may be happy to have him there, but they often forgot what he gave up to be there. Naruto was having to fight back tears from the unconditional support and love coming from these three. "Thanks, you three. You have no idea how much that means to me, you really don't," he said as they all circled around him to hug him again. "Okay, enough with the mushy stuff for now. Here's the situation in a nutshell. Rikudo Sanin was basically royalty over there, as the last of his line for the next few generations, as I am the only one at all from that house or clan as we call them. I am under a pretty much super Ciare. Rias will be the primary wife due to both her position as well as the contract. But the system is pretty much like ours here but a little better. There all current wives get a choice with all having veto power, and I gave her and by that you as well the choice as who to add. My only stipulations is that I can fall in love with them and they get along with everyone. Second issue is devils, which is the race we belong to, have an uneasy truce but are at peace and have been for a long time. At most there are what we would call border skirmishes, so no issues there. Third issue is how I plan on us all being together. You three are right now mortal and I am not, but the devils to help repopulate themselves after their war, as due to long lives have a low birth rate, came up with a reincarnation system which would turn you into devil-human hybrids but grant you immortality too as well as a power boost. You can still die if someone kills you, but old age and such is no more. Also, I don't know how old Graphia is, but she was around for the Civil War. So as you can see, your looks are preserved as well. That got a wide eye look from the three women. The downside to this is how it works. Each devil with a high ranking such as myself have a set of pieces, a type of game called chess. 1 queen, 2 rooks, bishops, and knights, as well as 8 pawns. Each has a unique aspect to it, so I do not have an unlimited use of them. Also, they put you under my direct control, but really it makes me your Hokage. If you run away, you get marked as a rogue and their hunter nin equals are much better. I have picked for back and a rook as that piece enhances strength and toughness, for Wago Ignite as it does the same for speed and is meant for weapon users, and a pawn for Anko as their special ability comes into play when they infiltrate the enemy's camp. They can then turn into any piece, almost tailor-made for you three, don't cha think? Naruto said as he waited for their response. He figured it would take a few minutes for them to come to terms with what he said. It was eternal youth for basically serving him as a Hokage for the rest of their lives. Tsunade was the one to get her head around it first. So brat, really what you're saying in return for treating you like we would as the Hokage, which we would have to have done anyway in a year or so, we get eternal youth. These two get to be with you and I get my grandbabies. I am sure there is a whole lot more, but that's the brass tacks, right? Yep, that's about the sum of it. There are what we would liken to a watered-down team-based chunin exams as a sport to keep our battle skills honed. They call them rating games. Some small-scale combat here and there if a stray is in our area, but the world is so much more peaceful there, and quite a bit more advanced than even Snow Country, and some other small things that will get filled in for you in time. Right now, also just so you know, along with Rias there are a few others that will join us in a few months. Also know until things are official I am having to focus on Rias. There seems to be a conflicting contract, but the asshat on the other one is really bad. Think duck but team combined with Arrow Senin's perverseness coming from a clan of people like my old man. No one saw it coming till it was too late, Naruto said. Both Anko and Iwego shuddered. That was a really bad combination to get married to forever. They looked at each other and nodded. Sign me up. Count me in, they both said. Sunday morning at the Uzumaki household was a somber morning. When Naruto left last Thursday they knew he would be back soon, but without him it really did seem much more dull around the house. Not to say the time outside the house was boring, oh hell no. Noper New Pon felt the need to befriend and rescue a nun he had just met a few days before, charging into a fallen angel stronghold filled with stray exorcists, only to show up too late. Well, at least they got her sacred gear back and reincarnated the poor girl, and she took it quite well. She seemed starved for friendship, and somehow made her first one with Issei of all people. That only goes to show how their god has a sense of humor. The innocent nun falling for the perverted devil. Sounds like a really bad dime novel romance. Though finding out that her pawn had a legendary dragon as his sacred gear and her new bishop had twilight healing as hers, which in her mind was almost as big of a deal. Naruto's peerage aside, healing among devils was super rare, and she picked up for her peerage one of if not the best healing sacred gears as her bishop, which was a good deal as after it was all done Issei was slashed through the belly again. She really needed to get that boy some belly armor, and did not relish her or Akano healing him their way and then telling Naruto. So both of them were staying on the first floor with the rest of them. Only Yudo had yet to move in with them, though Asia, her bishop, and Issei would more than likely stay living in his folks' home. Issei living here full-time would only lead to death or dismemberment for him and his tendency. As everyone woke up and Akano was cooking, the rest of her peerage, including her two newest members, were sitting at the table. Her new bishop spoke up. Ria-senpai, you have a lovely home here. Have you lived here long? She asked. Looking up, she smiled at the one-time nun, now devil. No, Asia, this is the house of my soon-to-be husband after we take care of a contract that was written before I was born. He had to return to his home dimension to pick up his godmother, and hopefully the two women who were to be his wives before he became immortal, now that he has a way to give them the same. At both Ise's and Asia's wide-eyed look, she cursed herself. She forgot neither of them knew about the contract or Naruto's origins. What? Naruto-senpai is an interdimensional traveler building a harem. Oh my god! He has got to be the most awesome person I have ever even heard of. I will have to redouble my efforts to make myself worthy of his tutelage. Issei looked like he was having a cross between a man crush and a religious experience at the other end of the table. Looking over, she saw Asia look a little miffed for half a second upon seeing Issei's actions, then what looked to be like a small amount of resolve. Rias would be watching them to see where that goes. Though Issei may have found his first member if he did not screw it up, best talk to Naruto about that one. Rias did not want to touch that landmine with a 10-foot pole. Wow, Naruto-san must be very strong for all that to happen. How did he become immortal, if I could ask, without the need for reincarnation? Asia asked. Well, I can tell you a bit, but it would be better to get the full story from him. Just don't press him too much on it. He was a trained soldier from around age 8 in his world and was a descendant from a person named Rikudo Sanin, who was very good friends with my brother and the other mouse, who during the Great War took the second primordial into his body and cast himself out of our dimension, like how the biblical gods sent the 666 beasts its own, both being on the same level of power. Well, Naruto grew up with a large part of that power sealed inside of him. After a bloody history, there was a war a few years ago with a madman who wanted to take all 9 of the scattered power of that primordial god and recombine them as a weapon of war. Everyone shivered at that. Naruto led his and other people to fight this madman who had tons of clone fighters as well. Think Star Wars clone troopers but with magical power, and outnumbered the living humans. Long story short, Naruto's side won after taking huge losses after Naruto was able to take all those scattered fractions into himself and win over the leaders of the enemies. I have seen the memories of some of the battles they fought, and I cannot even begin to describe it. Though I could share them, I would wait to ask him first, as they are somewhat personal. But during fights, entire forests would spring up, tsunamis would wash out enemy troops, volcanoes would spring out of nowhere, and there was even one enemy that could call meteors out of the sky to attack with, to give you an idea of how brutal it was. Due to being a direct and last descendant of Rikudo and taking all the fragments into himself after 16 years of adjusting to the largest fragment gave him the power to awaken his devil heritage and survive the demonic poisoning that killed Rikudo, thus leaving him immortal. Right now he is still adjusting to the power and won't be back to full for a while. But even at a fraction of his power, he is one of the top 50 in this reality. So I see, be thankful he stops at pranks with you. He could wipe you off the face of the planet with a thought right now, but I think he is coming around to you. He has had to deal with perverts all his life, even though he is not one. So long as you don't push it, he really can help you with a lot. In fact, soon as I can, I hope to get him and his peerage to help train us all. From what I understand, we will hate it, but it will make us far stronger than any other method. I mean, think about it. They were trained to survive fights where giant space rocks can land on your head. Still can't get my head around that one, Rias finished. She had forgotten that she had not shared any of this with any of them before, not even Akano. Well, best do it now, I guess, she thought as she saw the looks her peerage were giving her. Just as Akano was about to say something, a small flash down the hall came in, letting everyone know their favorite blonde was home. Hey honey, I'm Ho-O-O-O-M-E. After properly introducing the 3 new arrivals and everyone else, and sending them to set their rooms up, Naruto looked to Asia and then back at Rias. So I'm gone, what, a few days, and you go and replace me with another blonde? Is that it? He cried with a hand over his heart and a mock tear. Yeah, you know how it is, Naruto. My pillow was gone, so of course I needed to replace him, Rias said in the same mocking tone as she gave him a hug and a chaste kiss on the lips. Naruto, as I said, this is Asia Argento, my new bishop. She went into the story on how Issei met the nun who was at the time with the same fallen angel that had killed him, but he did not know at that time. Somehow Issei got caught up in some fake summon with a fake priest who wanted to kill him with Asia's unwilling help, but was unable to help her at that time due to enemy reinforcements. Afterward he stormed the enemy stronghold to save her just a few minutes too late, but Rias had resurrected her. I can't take a vacation, can I? Few things. First, does Issei come here? Naruto barked. He could see the slight fear in Rias' eyes and extreme fear in her pawn's eyes as he ran up and stood straight as a rod in front of him. Naruto placed his hands on his shoulders and looked him in the eye. Good job. I have no idea what this means as far as politics or any of that shit right now, but that was the right call for that time. Never let anyone take your precious people from you, and if they do, make them pay 10 times over. That's what it means to be a man. Now, even though it is Rias's job to take care of both of you, you are now directly responsible for the changes as Asia's life, and as a man you must do your best to make her happy with those changes you brought to her. Understood? Naruto asked as he looked at him with a stern gaze. Hi Naruto-senpai. I will do everything in my power to make her happy for the rest of her life, believe it? Icy said as somehow fire lit in his eyes. His idol was giving him the road map to being a man, and he would not let him down. Naruto patted him on his head. Good boy, keep that up and we may have our trip sooner than I planned. Asia, come here please, Naruto said in a softer voice. He could see she was having trouble with the situation, and after hearing the story he could guess she was not used to being around people much. Yes, Naruto-sama, what can I do for you? She said in a soft, quivering voice as she walked over to him under the gaze of the rest of her peerage. She had listened to the story her new master had told about her soon-to-be husband. She knew the story to be true even if it was hard to believe, but as this person was descended from someone who was close to par with God, she could not help but feel intimidated. Though being near him filled her with a strange feeling of warmth and protection, so she was unsure how to feel. Now, no need for any samas or sans with me, we are family. Rias is to be my wife, and that means her peerage are like brothers and sisters to me. All I want to know is if my new little Amato is happy, and to let her know she can come to me as well as Rias if she needs anything. Also, I made this offer to everyone who was around at the time, but you and Issei were not here, but I have over 20 rooms in the house. You and he can pick out 2 if you guys want to move in. Hear that, Issei? I got a room on the first floor for y'all if y'all want to move in. We can talk about ground rules later. Hearing an excited whoop from behind him, he turned back to Asia, who had tears in her eyes as she looked up at him. IW would like that, Naruto-ni. It was more of a question than a statement. Naruto-ni him. Yeah, that sounds perfect, Asia-chan. As I said, you are now my sister in all but blood. Naruto said as he gave her a small side hug. Seeing a bit of red dust her cheek as her eyes darted to Issei, Naruto could tell what was going on quite quick. Hey Issei, Naruto called out. What, Naruto Iniki? Issei called out, breaking out of his daze thinking about all the women that he would soon be living with. Remember Rule 1? That brought his head up so fast Naruto thought he might have dislocated his neck. I am going to make an exception if y'all know what I mean. Also remember Rule 3, are we clear? Naruto said to him. Issei took a second to remember what Rules 1 and 3 were. Our Rule 1 was all the women that were off limits, so he is saying he has no intentions on Asia. What was Rule 3 again? Oh yeah, it has to be voluntary, so it's her choice, not a problem. I would kill anyone who violated that rule anyway. I understand, Naruto Aniki. Besides, anyone violating Rule 3 would have me there as fast as it would you, Issei said back. Good, I would expect nothing less than someone I allow to call me Aniki. Rias, can we talk for a few minutes alone, please? Rias could tell he was unhappy about something, though was happy that he was taking to her 2 new pieces so well. She could guess what he was a little upset about. She knew she should have called him the second they had a hostage situation, but she really did not want to have to rely on him for everything. Sure, Naruto, she said as they walked into a different room. As she closed the door behind them and turned around, she was lifted off her feet in a tight embrace and kissed deeply. After a moment they broke apart, and Naruto looked into her eyes. Rias, I understand you want to be independent. Hell, I can even accept you are in no real danger. But all it takes is one lucky shot from some no-name grunt to hurt or kill you. I have seen people far more powerful killed in way more stupid ways. All I ask is to have you let me know. You want to storm the keep, that's fine. Just let me know so I can back you up if things go foobar. You and your team need to grow, I understand that. But just please take backup is all I am asking. He finished in a soft voice. He knew he could not stop her from fighting or putting herself in danger no more than he could turn Anko or Yugo into housewives. But he would be sure to drill proper safety into her. Rias was near tears herself. She could hear the plea and the hurt in his voice. Okay, Naruto, I'm sorry I did not call you. It really was a small thing that no one was in real danger from, but I understand what you're saying. How about this? In the future I let you know, and if it's something they need to do on their own I have you on call, so to say. Will that make you happy? She asked. Yes, it would. Please understand that anyone at any time could end you in a fight. If we were to go by your ranking system after seeing some of my battles, what rank do you think I was in my world? Ultimate? High? No. I was still ranked as a freshly reincarnated devil. Due to the war and how fast things moved, I never had an official promotion, so the person fighting all those battles and winning was the same rank as Asia in there. The moral of the story is just because they are low rank does not mean they have no skills, okay? Naruto told her. Ria's head was spinning. Naruto was a low-class fighter in their world. No, it was they never got around to promoting him. That would be like Issei taking on the 4 Mao and staying low-class. It made no sense. But they were in a war at the time, she figured. No worries, Naruto. I will be careful, she said as she leaned into his shoulder, giving him some comfort. So you got a rook, knight and pawn now, she asked to change the subject. And queen. I may have traded your brother my blank mutation queen for Graphia. Naruto told her about how all his pieces were mutation pieces and how things went on empty Mayaboku. I plan on getting Graphia to get them up to date, and over the next few weeks we need to talk to your buddy Sona to get them jobs at the school. Ba-chan can run the nurse's station, Anko can work well as a PE instructor, and Yugo can work as an office assistant or something. Interdimensional travel though wipes you out though, so they all went to crash. We can talk more tomorrow with them about it, Naruto said with a yawn. I can see you're tired. I have a few things to do tonight, I'll see you later, she said as she gave him another kiss, then walking out the door. She could not believe he had also traded for the strongest queen. She shivered at the thought of facing him in a few years in a raiding game, though now she knew what was coming, she now just had to train her peerage for it. Flashback, and looking over he saw the letters his friends had addressed to him. Picking up Shikamaru's first, he cracked it open to see the lazy scrawl of his best friend. Hey knucklehead, writing this so you know we all are okay with what happened. Know you're going to get all mopey about it in a few years, so we all figured we would write you and let you know it's okay. Just give him hell over there and remember me now and then when you watch the clouds. Signed Shikamaru, HNN, straight to the point, the lazy bastard, Naruto thought to himself with a grin as he picked up Ino's letter. Hey you idiot, next time at least hang around to let us know. Just take care of yourself. Shika and I are getting married soon. Doubt the lazy asshole told you. We are also adopting Sensei's child, so we will be okay. Next time you're in the area you owe me and $10.10 a shopping trip or so help me. Signed Ino. Naruto smiled at that. Ino over the past year or so had become one of his closest friends after Sakura passed away. They had both needed closure after that. Her and Shika was a bit weird, but he always got strange vibes from those two. He really should try to get those two over here, along with 1010. He would talk to Ba-chan tomorrow. Hearing a knock on the door, he called for them to come in. Watching Graphia walk in with a serious face. What's wrong, Graphia? He asked. Naruto-san, it seems Riser has been pushing more and more to speed up the marriage between himself or Ria-sama. I have several contacts in the Phoenix House, almost all of them from his peerage alone. The way he treats some of his pieces is disgusting, and their only choices are to run away and become stray devils or try to get traded, though the chances of a good trade with someone like Riser is very low. They a lot of times could go to someone just as bad. There have been a few requests to myself for help as payment for their services, Graphia said with a small frown. 4 of them came to me not long before you arrived and all but begged me for help. It seems he reincarnated them with promises of fair treatment, but all he really does is treat them like slabs of meat. If they show unwavering devotion, he seems to leave them alone for the most part. But she left the statement unfinished, seeing how angry Naruto was becoming by the situation. After taking a few breaths to calm down, he looks at Graphia. Okay, we need a plan that will allow me to trade for them if possible. Who are they, by the way? He asks. One of his rooks, her name is Shueilin, another is one of his knights, Carlamine, and 2 of his pawns, Marion and Bernd. He seems to take perverse pleasure in dressing them in humiliating outfits, as well as forcing other activities with them. Their choice is to go along with it or become stray devils right now. All 4, if they were to come to us knowing how you would treat them, would be welcome additions to our peerage as well. Shueilin is known as one of the best rooks of her class with the ability of psychokinesis. Carlamine is also one of the top-ranked knights of her class, easily on par with Yuto. Marion is quite adept at magic with well above average power, even though she hides that ability so as not to draw attestations to herself, and Bernd holds a sacred gear called Bow of the Ice Shard which she has hid until now. It is a long-range ability that freezes whatever the arrow pierces, though it is doubtful it would work or last long on a more powerful opponent than herself. I was going to bring this up later as you have a lot on your plate at the moment, but the chances of him pushing something though in the next week or two is quite high. They risked quite a bit to get me this information, as if they are caught being disloyal to Riser. She again left it unsaid. Okay, Grafia, we need a plan to not only get them traded to myself, but to use my pieces in them. First off, is that possible? Naruto asked. Yes, it is possible, though rarely done. Giving back the piece leaves them in the exact same state they were in when the piece was added, most likely dead. It takes a lot of trust to allow oneself to be killed just to swap a piece. Though to get a mutation piece I doubt they would mind, she added. Okay, see if you can get back in touch with them when it's time. Now you said the books have yet to go live in the underworld, right? After seeing her nod, he continued, okay. So Riser is a grade 1 perv, so no doubt would love those books. I would like you to leak the first 2 to him. Maybe though one of those 4. Maybe the first 4 if he demands his peerage look for them, 1 to each of them so they can get some last-minute favor. If the plan goes off like we think it will, I will add a side bet that if we win I get however many of his people I want for myself. Maybe say it's for research, though if you could pass it on to the girls it's a bluff and I would never do that to them. I would be grateful. If we lose I give him the rights to all 50 books, he loses I get to pick from his peerage. Other than those 4, any other news on his people, as in are the rest wanting to stat or what? Naruto asked. That's a good plan, Naruto-san. Knowing Riser he won't think he can lose, and knowing him the thought of all 50 books plus the rights to them would make it impossible for him to refuse, as he would look like a coward. And no, the rest of his peerage seem to be fine with how he treats them, though he does treat each of them different, so it may just be they're either okay with how things are or treated well enough not to care. I asked the same question when they first came to me, she answered. Okay, then get a message ASAP to those 4. Also let Riser know that Rias knows the author, that may speed this up a bit. If you can get a message to them tonight, I would expect him showing up Tuesday at the latest. Let them know as much or as little as you think is necessary, but make sure they know when they become mine. They're their own people and will not be forced into anything. That should get them though the next few weeks, Naruto said, staring out the window. He really hated people who forced others into any kind of trade. Riser was going to get far, far worse than he already had planned for him. As he was lost in thought, he felt a weight settle into his lap. Looking over, he watched as Grafia snuggled into his chest. Not that I'm complaining or anything, Grafia, but he really had no idea what to say after that. He knew this was a possibility after a while, but to come about so quick seemed a bit out of character for her. Shush. It's nothing really. I am just amazed how much you care for others you have never met. I knew I was falling for you after the first month we spent together, but I wanted more time to get to know you. I know we are waiting for after Riser is beaten, but know that afterwards I want to explore us as well, Grafia said in a small, unsure voice as she got up and placed a chaste kiss on his lips, turning to leave. Grafia, Naruto called before she opened the door. That's something I'm looking forward to as well. Sleep well, he said as she left the room. He was caught off guard at that confession, so really had nothing else he could say. Break waking up with a start for the first time since coming to this dimension due to his danger senses blaring. Naruto awoke and jumped to the side, dumping his red-headed sleeping companion onto the ground with a thud just seconds before Akuni thanked into his headboard. "The is going on," he shouted as he gripped the ceiling with his feet, looking around. "Enko, what the hell did I do to deserve an assassination attempt at 5 in the goddamn morning?" he yelled out to the figure in the door frame. "The problem, Naruto-kun, is it's been 6 months for us. 6 goddamn months! Both Yugao and I have not been touched other than by each other in those 6 months. And you know how cranky I get when I don't get my allowance of Naruto time. The only reason we did not strip you in your kitchen last night was due to how tired we were from whatever those toads of yours did, Anko said while a black miasma leaked out of her. Shit, Naruto thought to himself. She's horny, and nothing short of taking care of that will allow everyone to get out of this unscathed. Look, Anko-chan, trust me, I know what you're saying. It's been 2 months for me, but I have some big things that are going to go off at random for the next little bit and need to be in peak condition for when it does. Can you get by with some clones for the next few days? I was going to let you and Yuego have as many as you wanted anyway for a bit to catch you up on everything they could, while Grafia was going to catch you up on what I can't. And Yugao-chan, I can feel you sneaking up behind me, Naruto said. HRMPH, damn it Naruto-kun, can't you at least play along and let me kidnap you? I can live with a few clones for now if Anko can. They are pretty much you anyway. What's coming up that keeps you from helping them though? Yugao asked from behind him. During all of this, Rias just sat there wide-eyed. She was having a great dream about making love to Naruto when she was dumped on the floor, only seconds before a knife hit where Naruto's head would have been. She was about to attack the people who were attacking them, but quickly found out it was Anko who she had yet to have a real conversation with yet due to how tired they were the night before. Seems a pent-up Anko was a very dangerous thing, and as much as she wanted Naruto, she could see from their point of view that she may have to let him be with them before she was, though from the sound of it, it would not be the first time. She felt bad that she had separated Naruto from his lovers and resolved she would help them get some time alone when she heard Naruto offer his clones due to things coming up. For the first time the reality hit her that those clones could really take care of them on the nights he could not if what Hugo said was true. She kept listening to see what was so important as she got back into bed. Like the attempted murder did not just happen as it seemed to be their way of flirting? Foreplay? Something it seemed? Oh, you know how I told you about that riser team? Getting 2 nods he continued, well, it seems Grafia had some spies in his peerage, or combat team as you know them. Seems he treats some of his pieces little better than Achipito would, seeing Anko shiver at that. And they got a hold of us last night. Seems Rizatimi is getting a mite impatient about claiming the contract, and is pushing to force it now rather than in a few years, which was the soft agreement between the two families. Technically, it can be pushed now as she is 17, but there was a backroom agreement between the two sets of parents to wait till Rias was out of college, which would add another 5 or so years. To a bunch of people who have lived over 1,000 years, 5 extra did not seem like anything wrong. But Rizatime, who is in his early 20s, does not have the same grasp. Last night, Grafia and I altered our plans to deal with him. It will be the same setup, goad him into letting me into the match. But as he is a pervert, we leaked a few of the itchy books to him, and I will bet the series versus his people, at least the ones that wanted out. They had approached Grafia before Surzex knew about me at a pretty high risk if they found out. Even though things have changed, I refuse to leave them there as slaves to that asshat, Naruto finished. When do you think this will all go down? And will you need any help from us, or at least let us have a piece of him? Anko asked. Really any time. Next few days it should start as far as we can tell, then a week to 10 days is a standard prep time for a raiding game. We will go somewhere to train Rias Peerage. That's where I'm going to need you two and Bakun to help me whip him into shape. Gonna be honest, the new pawn would last all of 30 seconds versus a fresh genin. The new bishop is not, I repeat, not a combat person but more support and backline. The others need work, but I will be honest, any low-end jonin would be like upper mid to high class threat in this world. Yes, the ringers are like ringers in our world, maybe a little weaker but still able to kill. Seems battlefield healing is super rare as well. So have Ba-chan give the two of you lessons, as it will be a huge advantage to us. Due to my reserves we all know I can't do it. Naruto answered. Yugao jumped down as he was talking to stand next to Rias. As he finished she leaned over and whispered into her ear, Anko and I know the deal here. So we know you will be the primary wife Rias-sama, and we plan on talking with you tonight after you get home so we all know what to expect. Maybe swap some stories about the knucklehead. But please understand he is the most important person to both Anko and I, even though she won't admit it to anyone but us. We need some Naruto time, not just his clones but him soon. Make sure we can get some. He seems to have been here 2 months by his account, but to us it's been over 6. I hope you understand, she finished as she watched Naruto dodge a few more kunis from Anko when he told her she would have to wait till lunch for dangos so he could get the supplies. Trust me, Yugo-san, I completely understand. Due to how the magic on the contracts work, we cannot be fully intimate either. If everything goes the way he says, we should be at my manor in the mountains this week, and I have no problems having a clone for the nights there. He already explained that Anko needs more than clones at times. Also, please call me Rias. We will be sisters after all, and with how knucklehead as you call him is with suffixes, she finished with a giggle. Oh yes, you have no idea. He called the leader of the strongest village old man from the age of 4, the just now retired leader of the same village Ba-chan. He does not stand on formality at all. And please call me Yugao as well. She looked over to Anko, who was watching them out of the corner of her eye, and nodded. Anko looked Rias in the eye and winked and nodded to her as well with a thumbs up as she yelled at Naruto to make sure he had enough dango for lunch or she would castrate him with a spork. As they left, Naruto jumped from the ceiling back down to the bed. Hey Benihime, the chat go alright? He asked. When he saw the confused look in her eye, he explained, I know how those two operate. Hugo is the diplomatic one, so she came over to introduce them while Anko kept me away so she could. Anko knows I am cooking her dango now, but it gave her a reason to keep me occupied. So anything I need to know? He asked. Nothing much, just a hello, and we will talk tonight. Oh, and they need some time with you soon. Though from how Anko woke us up, I think it should be real soon. It's been getting harder not to go further each day, so I figure when we go off to camp for training, if everything goes well, you can leave a clone with me at night and help them adjust. I talked to Graphia last night, and we remind each other about a few things. As well as you're taking all of this, we sometimes forget that you did not have the best childhood, only to be in almost constant combat for the past 6 years or so, only to earn some time off, and then all of this gets dropped into your lap, destroying the plans you set up for your life. I'm not sure how you came to mean so much to me after only 2 months, but I am thankful each day you came and plan to make it so you're just as thankful somehow, she said as she kissed him. You know, you could make some extra clones for breakfast while I make sure you are thankful, she said with a small smile. Looking over to the clock and seeing they had about an hour before they had to get out of bed, he made a few extra reinforced clones just in case, as he settled back into bed. Life was good, he thought, as Rias slipped between his legs. Break after their personal time and a shower where Naruto lost his balance near then end with his only response to Rias was they said thank you. All 4 of them met up as they headed downstairs for breakfast. As they reached the dining room, Naruto saw the whole group was there and decided to make a more in-depth introduction as well as let everyone know what was coming down the line. Yo all! Let me reintroduce these lovely ladies. I say I swear on all that is unholy, get your eyes up about a foot before I shove my foot up your ass. He nodded to Anko and Yugo. Or to where they were supposed to be standing at least. Well crap, seems they want to make an entrance. Just as he thought that, a puff of purple smoke rose on the other side of the table and 4 daggers were thrown to the sides with a giant cloth sign that said, Mistress Anko's Castration on Demand Services, and a crude stick figure holding a spork drawn on it. Everyone except Naruto and Rias were staring slack-jawed at the performance, as Naruto had shown Rias the memory of the first time Naruto had met Anko, which was during the second test of his Chunin exam. Hello Gakis, name's Anko and my likes are dango, Naruto-kun, and beating the life out of peepers. My dislikes are perverts, pedos, and the time it takes to make dango, Anko said with an exaggerated thumbs up to the rest of them. She was wearing her standard mesh shirt, short black leather skirt, and tan trench coat that barely covered her ass. Anko, you really need to dress differently if we don't want to end up killing this kid here, said a voice that came from nowhere. At least that's what it seemed to the rest of Rise's peerage, including Rise, as Yugao came from a swirl of rose petals next to Issei, sword drawn at his neck. By the way, my name is Yugao and my likes are sweet red bean paste, Naruto-kun in training. My dislikes are spicy food, perverts, and things that interrupt my training that aren't Naruto-kun. Yugo was dressed in her normal Umbu armor minus cat mask. A black tight shirt with metal plates on the chest and shoulders, and black tight pants with shin guards and black combat boots. Seeing Icy gulp nervously, Naruto decided to step in at that point. Hey girls, don't kill the kid. Beat him if need be, but make sure Ba-chan can heal him or Rias will get pissed at him. was all he got out as a fist came from nowhere and punched him through 3 walls. Stupid brat, don't call me back on. How many times do I have to tell you that? Tausniad said as she sat down to her breakfast. It's too early to be causing this much commotion, you punk. Oh, I'm Tausniad, the brat's godmother. Don't let me catch you perving, and don't screw with my drinks, and we will get along just fine, she said as she caught a white bottle thrown at high speeds at her head. Thanks, brat, she called to the other room as a clone brought her a small cup. Whatever, back on, Naruto replayed as he dodged a butter knife thrown at him. Hey, later on I need to talk to you about Shika, Ino, and Tenten, he said as he ignored the looks on everyone's face as he sat down to his own breakfast. Looking around, he saw everyone standing still. Well, you lots, sit down and eat up, lots to do today, he said as everyone quickly took a seat and was served. Naruto-senpai's family is scary, Kaneko said as she piled crepes onto her plate. Ah, no, we aren't. Kaneko, right? Anko asked, getting a nod. Once y'all get used to us, Kaneko-chan, we are all cuddly and fluffy like, Anko said with an oversweet smile which made everyone's sweat drop. Oh, Anko-senpai, teach me your ways, Akino pleaded with her own oversweet smile. Oh God, there's 2 of them, there's 2 of them, Icy kept repeating, rocking back and forth, still not getting over the sword to his throat a moment earlier. Anko stared at Akano intently for a few seconds as if sizing her up, and then had a huge grin plastered on her face. We will talk, was all she said as everyone at the table got a small shiver down their spine. By that time Tausniad had enough food and sake for her brain to reboot for the morning. Sure, brat, but you know 2 of them are next in line for their clans, right? Also they're taking care of Asuma and Kunai's kid. Yeah, Ino mentioned that, though the lazy bastard did not even tell me he was getting married to Ino. I plan on putting a pawn aside for the kids so when she gets older she can choose. But we both know both Ino and Shika have people that can take over for them with peace on its way. Not saying we will go for a minor fight, but World War we could always go back for anyway. Maybe sell it as an eternal stopgap or something, I don't know. And you know the situation with Tenten, we need to get her out of there anyway before she breaks down. I kinda wanted you to handle that due to your summons, you know, Naruto replied. Now I can ask them, but it will be up to them either to accept or not, but I will try. Hell, having Shika here alone would be worth 3 Embu teams. Lazy bastard he may be, but still, she said, getting a nod from the 3 other ninjas. Naruto and I, who are you talking about? Asia asked, tilting her head slightly to the side. Naruto felt that level of cuteness should be outlawed. Asia, has anyone ever told you that the level of cuteness you exude should be outlawed? Asia just blinked at him twice with her head still tilted and scrunched her nose as if trying to figure out what he meant as everyone else at the table laughed. Never change, Asia, never change. We are talking about a few more friends of mine back on my, I guess, home world. Shikamaru is one of my oldest and best friends still living and probably the smartest, laziest person you will ever meet. Ino was the best friend of my teammate who passed away in the war, and we became close friends, and she is now getting married to Shika. Tenten was in the class a year above me but was on the team of another friend of mine who also passed away in the war and a good friend of mine. Shika and Ino are raising the child of their teacher. Which reminds me, Ba-chan, when Shika comes, have him dig up Haiden's head and bring it with him. I got plans for him. And with that, Naruto got a smile that almost scared the piss out of everyone in the room. I can ask Brat, but you know how he feels about him. Any real reason other than to screw with people for him to come, otherwise he will more than likely say no, Tausniad said as the others at the table got a thoughtful expression on why Naruto would want a head. Come to find out, this world has a fiction-based correlation to him called a zombie. Also, and I will show some to Anko later, but I have a new pet theory on how to break a hardened ninja but really don't want to put it into practice with a normal person. All that and the fact we will have thousands of years to screw with him, and I don't want some nut job coming back and putting him together. I'm sure there are other reasons I can come up with, but those are the main ones, Naruto said. Naruto, do not bring the zombie apocalypse to our dimension, please, Ria said in a mock stern voice. No, it's nothing like that. He is like a zombie. He is not really a zombie. He might eat brains though, he is kinda messed up. But I promise his bite is not infectious. Wait, let me rephrase that. I am sure his bite won't make you a zombie, though it might get infected, Naruto replied. Oh Naruto-kun, show me really quick what those methods are like please. Anko said in a voice that may have sounded pleasant but promised pain to those that disobeyed. Naruto looked into her eyes and showed her memories of My Little Pony, and the songs. This is the song that never ends, and it's a small world. Keep those on a cycle 24/7. I doubt anyone would last more than a day, was all Naruto said as Anko started rubbing her temples in pain. Dear Kami, Naruto, you know how my interrogations go. Poison, castration, and pure flat-out torture, and even I would call those methods war crimes. Ibiki can never learn them or he would find a way to cross the dimensional gap to have your babies, Anko said as she hugged herself tight as a clone handed her an iPod. Put those 2 white earbuds in either ear and press this sideways triangle. It will play music from this world that will help counteract those 2 songs. The sooner the better before they take root, was all Naruto said. Looking at Rias, who had a quirk eyebrow, he answered the unasked question those at the table had. I shared with her an episode of My Little Pony, and the songs It's a Small World, and this is the song that does not end. Ninjas train to have as near eidetic memory as they can, so those 3 things are almost impossible to block out for us without a mind wipe. And Ibiki is the head of Anko's old T&I department, or torture and interrogation. Say if you wish to ever reproduce, curb your tendencies around the house if you catch my drift. Lady S, think Jiraiya hobbies with fresh gen and toughness if you catch him please. Tsunade just groaned and put her head in her hands. Brat, what is it with you and finding these people? How you turned out decent I will never know. Hey, that's not my fault. If you ever come across the old man, ask him. He set me up with both Kakashi and Arrow Sanin. Issei here, well, blame Rise for that one, though in all honesty, he has potential. Okay. Now that everyone has eaten and been watered, we need a quick sit representative of some things that have come up and some plans that have been made. Reese, do you mind if I go over this really quickly? Reese gave him a nod. Okay, long story short, your Bucha here had 2 marriage contracts for her. Mine, which was set up over 700 years ago, but only reactivated a few months ago, and no one could plan that, and one to a fried chicken, a guy named Riza Phoenix. Now Riza Team is a known man whore who does not treat women right, and there is no way in hell he is getting my Rias. He is playing some underhanded games right now to push the issue a few years early, but we are ready for him. In the next few days, plan on him coming to the clubhouse and try to start some shit. I need everyone to not react. We have a plan that, if all goes the way we think it will allow us to save some of his people and ruin him for good. Also soon, we don't know when, but in the next week we think plan on a 7 to 10 day training trip, so put your affairs in order today. Grafia, you passed the books I gave you off, right? He asked. Yes, Naruto-san, though what was so special about those books? Grafia asked. Naruto chuckled a bit before he answered. There was an impotent seal on the pages of those books as well as a 30-day destruction seal. The seal works on the first male to read them and lasts until I use a counter seal, Naruto said with a smile which Grafia and most of the women in the room returned. Those girls will thank you, was all Grafia said. Okay then, today Anko, Yugao and Ba-chan, he ducked a coffee cup that time. I will leave a few clones to fill you in on everything and Grafia can finish the rest. I'll leave you each a credit card and you all can go shopping for cloths from this world, as yours will stand out way too much, which Grafia can help you with as well. With how well Arrow Senin's books are selling, I doubt you could buy enough today to put a dent in the account. So get whatever you feel you need as far as cloths and other items, though I would wait till you know more about this world before you get anything major. Oh, and Bakon, don't even bother with the stuff topside, it's about as weak as our old tap water. Sears X knows where to get the good stuff, and Gambi supplied us with quite a bit of the good stuff, so no danger anytime soon. Also, I have a training room in the basement for all 3 of you to regain control of your new abilities. With the way it's set up, it counts as enemy territory. So Anko, I give you permission to promote from now until I revoke it. That should be enough for you to always have the ability. A normal pawn resurrection will add about 3 times the abilities of the base form. So 3 times the strength, speed, and chakra, faster regeneration, and increased toughness. I am sure there is more, but those are the basics. Knights get about 5 times the speed but twice the amount of the other attributes, and rooks get about 5 times the strength and toughness, and twice the rest. My pieces are special as they double the normal amount, so your control will be wonky as hell and may need to do control exercises. But I have both trees and a waterfall in the basement that feeds into a lake, so everything you should need is down there. Seeing the look Rias was giving him, he decided to answer by pulling out a striped bucket hat out of a seal and putting it on. Yes, Rias, I made it like I said I would. He looked around at the questioning glances. Who here has seen Bleach? Everyone but the 3 new arrivals and Asia raised their hands. I made the training room of Ol Hat and Clogs, which was received by a room full of excited devils. The rest of you will see what I mean later or after school. Everyone's bento is on the counter. Same colors as before except Asia's is tied with a pink bow and Yuto's with a blue one. He had made it so the bento boxes matched the color of the hair of the peerage members to keep confusion down. It had nothing to do with the fact that Issei's was colored shit brown, and he had a perfect excuse for it. Nothing at all. ### break ###. The rest of the day and night went as per their normal routine of classes and everyone eating lunch together, though Rias got her friend Sona and her peerage to take over her contracts for the next few weeks as we got word that our ploy with the books had worked as expected and Riza planned on making an appearance the next afternoon. He planned to push a rating game on Rias while he felt he had the advantage knowing she would use that to break the engagement, standard weakling tactic. That night Tsunade, Anko, and Yugao were almost glowing with happiness after Grafia took them on their first mall trip. Even Tsunade said if she shared that memory with Ino and Ten he as good as had 3 new pawns as Ino would drag Shikazari ass here by force if need be. She had plans to go tomorrow to try to convince them so she could get back in time to help with the training trip. After everyone had a good look around the training room, which Naruto made look more like the Hidden Leaf climate than a dusty desert, everyone decided to eat dinner around the lake instead of going all the way back up to the kitchen. Time enough to train they all felt in a few days. Now was the time to relax. Though Anko and Yugo were pissed they had to their control exercises again. Towards the end he called everyone to him. Okay guys, we talked about this about 2 weeks ago. I am going to show you all some memories of some battles, though I will keep the worst out of them. The reason I am showing these to all of you is other than Grafia and Rias. None of you have any real clue as to what I can do. The few times I pull something minor out, you guys freeze and that's not good on the battlefield. The reason I guess I waited so long as I wanted you guys to get to know me as I normally am, as in a fight I am completely different. So please remember I am still me and you were never safer than when you were with me. They all heard the plea in his voice, as if he was afraid of how they would react, and saw the 3 new arrivals nod their heads in agreement. Naruto-ni is a good person, we know that, so don't worry, Asia said. Don't worry about us, Naruto-kun. Bucha has faith in you and that means we know you are a good person no matter what, though I wonder if Anko-senpai could share some of her memories as well, Akano said, to which Anko mouthed later to her and got a nod in response. Yuto and Kaneko nodded their heads in agreement with Akano. Aniki is Aniki. He is going to make sure I get my harem, so no matter what he is my Aniki, even if he were to be an evil overlord who boils puppies. Not that he is or anything. You never mind, Icy mumbled. Kami bless his simple little mind, thought Naruto. Okay, just remember what you said after you see these. And with that Naruto showed some of his fights in Sage mode, his fight with pain minus cubification. After the merger, that was no longer a danger, so no need for them to see that. He showed them some of the fight with Gaara when he went into Buju mode, including the clones. And last he showed a memory of him throwing a wind shuriken Rasengan in the battle where his mother showed up when he fought Kimura with his clones and chains, and a little bit of Miranda pulling the meteor down on the army of shinobi, but not the aftermath of that. He made sure to show Anko, Yugao and Tsunade, as well as he showed some stuff he thought he had yet to show them. Even Rias had not seen most of these, and what she had seen had come from someone else. Those are some of the kinds of fights I am used to in my home dimension. There are many more, but honestly you don't need to see them as they are filled with blood and gore, and won't show you anything really about my personal abilities. So now you know what style of warfare us four are trained for. Grafia is someone who was in the Civil War, which was the last all-out conflict the devils have been involved in. How do you rate our skirmishes? I did not show any outright battles, so it is not fair to have them compared. Naruto asked as he felt relieved that he felt no real fear in any of his friends or lovers. Quite a bit of awe, and he was pretty sure both Issei and Yuto were developing man crushes on him, something he would have to snip in the bud, but still. Naruto-san, I wish I had the ability to share memories like that to show you the difference. But what you describe as skirmishes would be far, far more than our biggest battle. Even the Great War did not have stories like those battles unless the leaders had taken the field like your grandfather or God himself, Grafia answered. Okay, cool then. So Anko and Yugo, welcome to the BAMF ranks. To those not knowing what that means, it stands for Badass Mother Earth. Ba-chan and I have lived at that rank for a while, but it's nice to have company, he said as he dodged a boulder half his size by ducking slightly to the left. Love you too, Granny. Oh, he said as he flashed away from a punch leveled at his head. When Tsunade missed and hit the ground, it caused a chasm 20 feet long and too deep to tell. Damba-chan, no need to get pissy, Naruto said from a safe distance. Tsunade, please don't kill him until I can at least get one child from that man-child over there, Rias said in a deadpan tone. I could have healed him, I think. Don't worry, even if I kill the brat I will get a sample from him. Not even death will keep me from grandbabies. She almost squealed, making everyone come to the same conclusion: ninjas were crazy. The end. Thanks for listening to my video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and comment below your favorite part. Sayonara, see you in the next video.